Yo, what is going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the Kyle Beats podcast. The holiday season is over. It is officially 2019. Let's get it. We're out here. I recorded 2 podcasts the past weekend, both of them with guests, new guests. It's lit. Podcast today, the longest podcast in the history of the Kyle Beats podcast. This episode is 2 hours. It's about 2.5 hours long. It's with Curtis King Beats. A lot of you guys probably know him. He's big on YouTube. He's 100-something thousand subscribers on YouTube. Once was a rapper, now thriving as a producer slash YouTuber, whatever you want to call it, personal brand, as I like to call it. This is a great podcast. Curtis is a little bit older than me. I'm 26. He's 34, and he has like a dope. We got into like his past a little bit, his experiences. He's definitely learned a lot of things, both with like kind of the old way of doing things, in my opinion, like trying to work with people and come up on your scene or whatever, and then the new way of doing things, which is the internet. I mean, we talked about, this is 2 hours, 2.5 hours. We talked about literally everything. Another phenomenal podcast, great information, inspirational, amazing. I listened to the whole thing. It took me a couple days to listen to this one, so you might want to set aside some time. But yeah, and I already have another one recorded. I'm not sure if I want to wait till like next week to drop it or drop it early. I want to drop it early and record another one this weekend. But anyways, let's get into it. Without further ado, use the code KB Podcast for kits and for beats. My website, KyleBeats.com. If you don't already, go follow me on Instagram and Twitter at Kyle Garvin Beats is what it is right now. YouTube, obviously, subscribe and hit the bell if you haven't yet. Also, subscribe to the podcast, whatever you're listening to this on. It is available on Spotify, iTunes, SoundCloud are the main things. And wherever else you listen to it, I use the thing that submits to everything. So I don't know, maybe you're weird and listen to it somewhere crazy. Not on YouTube, just because I don't have a video version, and it seems like a waste of time to take hours to render videos with just audio. I don't know. I was thinking about it, but anyways, let's get into the podcast. This episode is ridiculous. It's so long. It's an amazing episode. I hope you guys enjoy it. Let's get into the episode. Welcome back, Kyle Beats Podcast. Let's get into it in 3, 2, 1. Here we go. We're back. We are live. Not live. We're recording. Back to the Kyle Beats podcast with another guest. It's been a couple weeks since I had a guest because of the holidays, but we're back with the one and only Curtis King Beats.
Hey, how you doing?
What's going on, man?
I cannot complain. How you feeling?
I'm feeling good, dude.
Good holiday season.
Yeah, man, just kind of working, you know, and did a couple things that I usually don't do. Take a couple breaks and do Christmas and New Year's, but yeah, pretty laid back, just out here making beats. But yeah, before we get into it, you recently moved, right?
Yeah, a big move for my family and I. I've been it's crazy, like the last, I'd say 200 to 300 videos have been shot in this 700 square foot apartment that I transitioned to after, I went through a breakup and whatnot, and I kind of had to start from square one. My audience already knows about that. But I had a studio situation. I had my setup, and then within a matter of, I'd say a few days, it was gone. So then for the next 2 years, I had to, do my build my content, build my brand, build my business up, and get it to a point where I could return back better than ever. And here we are. I'm actually recording this right now from my home studio that I've just been daydreaming about, and now here we are in here. So that's about it, though, man. That it was a major move. Moved out to San Diego. It's a bit of a distance from where I was at. Don't really know anybody out here.
Where were you? Where were you at originally?
Redlands, California. So it's about an hour and 30 minutes away. And even Redlands itself, like I've lived in the Inland Empire, which is, for those that don't know, that are on the East Coast or whatnot, it's basically like San Bernardino, Fontana, Rialto, Rancho, just this collection of cities that I really built my career in as an artist and as a producer. So it's all that I've known aside from, you know, my beginning origins in Carson. It's all that I pretty much have known. And what I realized, you know, one day I looked up and I said, you know, most of my business used to be predominantly out here in the IE area. And then I realized my business has become 100% online, so that I have the flexibility to basically go wherever I want to go.
Exactly.
And
dude, you know what's crazy is, sorry to interrupt you, but I was looking at, because like I live in Boston right now, and fucking eventually I always wanted to just not be in Boston. I've lived other places. I've been around, like I've done a bunch of things. I'm back here now because my mom actually got sick a couple years ago. Man. So because I've been working online, I was able to stay at home and take care of her, and or help with my sister when she's not here. But so I mean, like I hate the winters in Boston. They're absolutely horrible. I lived in Florida for a year. Changed my whole like mindset. I was like, dude, I'm never
gotta get going back. I experienced one day and night of Boston cold on tour with Murs in 2013. That was crazy. Oh my gosh, it was crazy because it was I want to say it had to be shortly after. I gotta look at it. It was either I had it before the Boston Massacre, the marathon. You know, it was either before or after. I think it was before, but we had a really good time there. It was really good people, and we didn't know what to expect. You know, especially coming from the West Coast and being Dodger fans and Laker fans at that. We didn't know what to expect going in there, but Boston was treated us nice. But it was definitely balls cold out there.
Yeah, it's pretty brutal. I just I don't know. I just can't do it. I'm just such an active person. I like being outside, and I don't know. I can't do it anymore. But I was actually looking at places I was looking at Temecula and Fontana, but I don't know anything about those places. You know?
Right. Well, they're polar opposites.
Yeah, I know that. But I actually don't really know that. But I wanted to be somewhere warm. I'm not gonna move to Florida or somewhere random because I don't know, what's the point? Yeah. So I wanted to move somewhere outside of LA. So it's if I wanted to drive an hour and go in there for some sort of reason, because I know a lot of people that are there just from music and shit. Right. So all my friends here now that I grew up with and went to college with or whatever, they just work jobs and it's freezing here 70% of the year. So I wanted to move to an hour outside one of those places, similar to the type of shit you fucking got. I was gonna say, man, I feel I feel like I see random similarities between me and you, just randomly when I was just looking on the internet, right? Just from the way you set all your shit up
man, I tell you this, if you got to choose between the two, definitely go for Temecula. If you have to choose between the two, go for Temecula. Yeah. I guess I shouldn't say that. It really depends on what you want to do when you get out here. A lot of folks, and it's funny, I'm going to create content really soon about it, but a lot of folks come out from, the East Coast and say, oh, well, I got to get to the epicenter of what the music is out here, or where the music scene is at, and that's Los Angeles. And they start to think, okay, well, it's a bit expensive in Los Angeles, so let me get to a city that's sort of a middle ground. So you start thinking about, the areas like Rancho, Pomona, and some folks don't know what they're getting into. Covina, you gotta really do your research about the areas they're in. But I'll tell you, if your business is primarily online as a producer, you should definitely make your way to Temecula and whatnot. They're building it up out there, and
I just want a house too. I don't want to. I can get a place. I can get a fucking 2-bedroom apartment and pay $1,800, right? Because it's expensive here too in Boston. I pay a pretty hefty amount for this house that we're in, a house right now in Boston that we rent. Okay, so it's the same shit if I were to move there, right? But would I rather get a 2-bedroom apartment, use one as a studio, or would I rather fucking have a whole house
Yeah, man.
and like
that's the
have
thing that
someone
gets
living
me.
with me, filming me and shit? Like,
Yeah, and then too, you never know what you're gonna get with your neighbors. I lived in the apartment that I was
Yeah.
in for a cool two years, same neighbors, and my neighbor was always cool about me. Like if I wanted to play music out loud, he wouldn't have really tripped about it, and he was really quiet up until he got into a scooter accident. And he was at home most of the time, and then he built a surround sound system in his apartment, and he was, I mean, bass all time of the night. And I make beats. He don't make beats. He just watches, Thor and all kind of crazy shit. And his music, his sound system was just blaring through the walls. And I would never call it police on any of them, but I mean, you just never know what you're going to get. And I can't imagine if you're you're doing a podcast, that's going to be inconvenient. But I got to tell you, man, it's probably partly because I'm not used to growing up. When I was growing up as a kid, I wasn't really used to staying in houses. There were some stretches that I did, but I'm used to being in apartments. So when I have the freedom to just, the flexibility to do that, especially as a producer, this is ideal. And then now as a father and as a husband, I wanted my wife to be able to have her own makeup room, and for my son to be able to, my son only been here. We haven't been here longer than a month, and he's already crawling within this week because he has more space. Before it was like, where am I going to crawl? 700
if you have a
square feet.
son too, like absolutely.
Yeah, man. I tell you, it's the most beautiful motivator. It's the most beautiful motivator. He and my wife are the reason why we got into here so fast, because I just worked at a blazing speed. And a blazing amount of content, and I zeroed in. I said no to so many people that were used to me saying yes, and I just zeroed in and I said 5-bedroom house, 5-bedroom house, 5-bedroom house, and we almost settled for a 4-bedroom that was huge, but it just didn't feel like a home. And then we found, then we happened to put in for another one, and we got approved within 24 hours, and it was like, this is a dream come true. So now it's time to cook. What I love about this, not to be too long-winded, what I love about this environment is that it's definitely the highest rent I ever paid. But what I love about that is it's a great motivator for me to
for sure.
set the bar higher, right?
100%.
Tony Robbins had a time in his life where he was living in a Del Mar castle, and I think he had to pay an upwards of either $15,000 to $30,000 a month for rent. And it was $15,000 a month, and he was making $30,000 a year. And that's the year he first became a millionaire. We do the things we must, and not want to do. We do the things we must.
That's like how I even started selling beats in the first place, was when my student loans started kicking in, and I was living in Florida.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh shit.
It got real. It got real.
I was literally like down to the point where I had like $800 left, and like my bills and everything I had to pay for the month was like $1,200 or something at the time.
Right.
It was like $1,200, $1,300, and like literally fucking the next month I was about to go broke. And then that same month, I was gonna ask about the tour you were saying you went on. I was going on tour with my homie Cam Meekins,
okay,
who's a rapper, and I was like DJing for him. So he paid me up front for the tour, and then that same week I was going on the tour, this fucking dude bought like an unlimited rights, and then the next day he bought a wave lease. So I made like $1,200 that week,
right?
And I was like tweaking, and then this just from there I was like, all right, let's fucking get it. Like, I know it's possible now. Then the next week I made like another 200, because just on the road, like DMing people on Instagram and shit,
right?
Because I was on the road for the whole I was in the car just on Instagram, I had nothing else to do, so I was just fucking messaging people all day, right? And then I got home, I was like, all right, fucking let's get it. And then it went from $400 a week, and then this is before YouTube too, and then eventually, like, when people start coming back around and shit, you start building like a weird Instagram brand like a couple of years ago, and then it turned into like making $1,000 a week off of Instagram.
See, that's the beauty of what we do, man. That's the beauty of what we do. We have the ultimate flexibility, and any day can be, every day is going to be different. Yeah, it's a hustle. It's definitely a hustle, but every day a new variable is created, right? This could be the day that you go, you get $1,500 in sales, or you can be the day that you throw a goose egg up there, but it's sort of the thrill of it all if you can see it from that perspective.
Yeah, it's weird now because like now I kind of live in the thrill.
Right.
Like I almost
You get used
like
to it.
want. Yeah, you like put pressure on yourself to like have some sort of fucking thrill. Like I just moved recently too to like a better place for my mom because she actually ended up fracturing her leg.
Oh wow.
Just from a seizure. Yeah, she has stage 4 brain cancer. It's pretty bad.
Man.
But yeah, so we had to move out because like we had to move to a place that was like wheelchair friendly for the next month.
Right.
So I just used the opportunity to move out of my fucking parents' house, which I was staying in to help her, and then moved to another place. And yeah, but yeah, and then after that, like when she got the cancer, that was another pressure point that I was like, Jesus Christ, like I made $1,000 this week. I think 1,200 was the most I made before YouTube.
Right.
And then, but I was like, if I stop fucking messaging people in a month, I'm not gonna, like, it's gonna be gone. It's a goose egg in a month, just cause it wasn't really a brand. It was more just like selling people on Instagram.
Yeah, and that's I forget who it was. No, it's Warren Buffett. Warren Buffett said, if you don't figure out a way to make money while you sleep, you'll work until you die.
Yeah,
And,
exactly. And
that's
what that was. It was
that
like,
stuck me. Oh man, that hit me in the chest. Hit me in the chest because, life is the ultimate. The ultimate unpredictable, right? You don't know exactly what's coming on. Today we could be completely 100% well in health, and either us or someone we love becomes our biggest priority, and we must make sure that we provide for them in whatever way we can, and that just changes the dynamic of things. But I tell you, man, it's amazing what us as human beings are able to do when the pressure's on, and we make up our minds that there is no other result except for success.
Yeah.
There is
it's
no
a scramble.
Other. Yeah, it can be.
That's
for
like
sure.
that's the word. That's the word I kept using. Like when people ask me questions either on the podcast or whatever I answer questions on, like it's just literally just a scramble. Like
Facts.
you just every day your mind is just on that thing until you get it, and then that's it.
Man, but that's, you know what? I mean, not to keep harping on that, but that's exactly how it was for where we're staying at right now, is that, I tried to get I am getting my wife more into the art of visualization, and not only just speaking it into existence, because that became so cliche now because everybody's law of attraction and whatnot, but really honing it. And even like first it starts off as a joke. Like my wife and I would be in, we would be in the apartment, 700 square feet. You don't have to yell to get somebody's attention, right? You can whisper and they'll hear you from the kitchen to the bathroom or from the kitchen to the bedroom. And so I used to act like I would close my eyes, she would close her eyes, and then I would act like, honey, tell me when dinner is ready. I'm up here in the studio, upstairs. And then she'd be like, okay, I'll let you know. Just, keep on working. And we would laugh about it after, but we kept doing that, or we would close our eyes and, lay down and just visually speak out what we see this home as being. And it's so freaking eerie how identical it is to what we imagine.
Yeah.
and I'm telling you, man, it comes a point where when you decide it's a must. One of my favorite quotes is that God will reward the people who stubbornly push against the ceiling. Now that may be something else for some other people. Somebody might say the universe or whatever they believe in, but you will be rewarded for stubbornly pushing against the ceiling. And sometimes life puts us in that corner. We just gotta play ball, like you said, gotta scramble.
Yeah, shit. I mean, like, it's always like, I almost like, whenever I'm in a shitty ass situation,
Mm-hmm.
I'm at the point where I'm like, all right, I've been here before. I'm in a fucking horrible situation.
Right.
All I gotta do is put my fucking head down and just keep working, and like it's gonna be better on the other side.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like I'm gonna look back on the time and like I've hustled so fucking hard the past year and a half. And like I'm gonna look in 2 years full, and I'm gonna look back and be like, "Damn, how the fuck did I do that?" Even now, I'm looking back on like just the Instagram shit. Like, how the fuck did I sell beats on fucking Instagram by just messaging people? Like, I don't know. The fact that I was making $1,000 a week blows my mind.
Right.
Because like now I have this huge brand, and like I don't know, it's crazy. Like,
especially when you start seeing that a lot of your friends that are not within music are not making that, and they're working a whole lot more hours. Like we may scramble, we may send Instagram DMs, but I know there's people right now who would die. They would love to just have to send Instagram DMs all day and work on music.
Yeah, that's true.
If but I try to keep that
stressful though.
It is stressful, but I try to keep it in perspective. What it is that we're doing. One of my favorite speakers and now authors is an individual named David Goggins. Who's been basically geared up as like the toughest mofo in the world. A dude was, was a Navy SEAL and went through Hell Week 3 times, went through the training to become like one of the most elite SEALs. And this man is like ran 100 miles on 2 broken legs. And he's just like unreal when it comes to mindset. But one of the things that he shared in his book, was that we should all look at these times when we reach through adversity and we push through these moments, as difficult and challenging as they are, they become cookies. And you put those cookies inside of a cookie jar. And, back when we was little kids, maybe your grandmother or an aunt had a cookie jar and you got a cookie when you were good. And so in those moments and times where you find yourself, losing momentum, you find yourself losing hope, open up that cookie jar and start to reflect back on those moments that, damn, I pushed myself through way more than this. Just like really live in the moment, and then it pushes you right through whatever you're going through. So I look at the challenge that it is to move to a new location where I don't know anybody, and I think about, how am I going to? Not even how I'm going to. I know how I'm going to, but the expenses are going to rise more than they've ever been for me, but. I look at it and I say, man, you have been through so much more. This is child's play compared to the things. These are good problems. People with no problems are in cemeteries.
Yeah, it's like a weird balance to where, like, if you don't worry about that, maybe you won't fucking come up with the, like, you know what I mean? Maybe you won't hustle if you don't worry about that. So it's a weird balance of like worrying about it, but not like letting it fucking get to you to the point where you're fucking freaking out and like depressed and like, fuck, how am I gonna pay this? Like,
I'll tell you this. What helps me, and it's something that I'm actively always, man. People will probably think I'm crazy when they talk to me and they see me talk and then correct myself as if I'm talking to myself. And one of the things that I would do is that instead of being worried about it, I would change that language entirely, since things that start off with a word end up, materializing inside your brain and end up becoming a future action or inaction. So I look at it and I say, you know what? The word is not worry. The word is, there's a challenge in front of me and I'm up for it. That sounds like I can play ball with that. Worried is linked in fear. And so I think about fear. I think about, damn, I'm not going to be able to do this. What about all the times that I failed before? But there's power in the tongue. There's power in language. And that's something that it's part of the reason why I probably, compared to as many associates and friends that I had within the industry, I don't have anywhere near that, because that language is powerful. And a lot of folks like to use very poisonous language, and they don't even know that they're using it because they've been kind of programmed to do it. But when I make something up in my mind that I'm going to do it, I don't need anybody to try to put doubt in that it's going to happen. There is no other means it's going to happen. So I think that's important too. A lot of folks are surrounded, not, of course, we were talking with each other, but a lot of producers out there are surrounded by people who, constantly drag them down. It may not just be their art, but it may just be their lives that they're dragging them down with just language in general.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel you. I mean, like, I feel like I'm at the point, especially now, where, like, I don't, like, it doesn't matter what the fuck someone says to me. Like, I'm so, like, ignorantly going towards what I'm going towards.
Oh, yeah.
Like, it doesn't matter what the fuck anyone says to me. I've always been like that, but, like, I mean, now it's just, like...
It's an overdrive.
It's like, yeah.
Well, then, but the stakes are higher now, right? You have your mother.
The picture's clearer now. The picture's a lot clearer now.
And how old are you, by the way, if you don't mind me asking?
26. I was going to ask you the same. How old?
Yeah. So I'm this month I will be 34. Right. I passed my Jesus year, my Pippin year. Now I am 34. Now it's like, oh, you grown man, old man almost in this industry. But I tell you this. The clarity that you're experiencing right now will be nothing compared to when you reach 30. 30 is people. I used to be terrified of, oh man, if I don't do this by 30, I'm a failure.
Do you listen to a lot of Gary Vee?
I have, but I mean, when it comes to go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was gonna say just the way he talks about like, not really how he talks about patience, but like the way he talks about like age and patience and like really helps me like forget about that, because I always think like, fuck 26, you know what I mean? But like in 10 years I'm gonna feel the same as I do now. Like, I don't know, just it's just like the mindset of like all your fucking friends like going out and working jobs and shit. I mean, obviously I think differently than other people,
right?
But like sometimes you're like, fuck, like if I'm trying to be this, I need to fucking do it.
Oh man,
look how old this fucking producer is. Like,
yeah, but what you realize is that I understand what you're saying. That I mean, the game will obviously change, but who you are will stay at its core. But man, 10 years from now, oh man, you know, going the direction that it appears that you're going, especially at the rate when you keep pushing the bar up higher. I mean, first of all, 25, 10 years ago, or not even 10 years ago, 34, 24, 10 years ago, oh my gosh. First of all, my physical, my back, I didn't have no back pains. I could just jump up and do what I could do. Like now, like I have to have an ergonomic workstation, or I get these neck pains. These neck pains turn into migraines. Yeah. When I was 20, I didn't care about none of that. It didn't matter. I can work for 17 hours on end and not feel anything. Now I have to be more responsible about that. Now I have to I have to make sure that I'm drinking the right amount of water so I can keep going and pacing myself. But I'm telling you,
gallon a day, baby,
man. But that clarity that you get, I can't even explain it until you're at 30. You start realizing.
I mean, I feel you, dude. Like, I mean, if I compare it to, whatever, like, fucking what's 34 minus 26, whatever that age is. So that's 18. If I can, or like, what is it? I'm fucking horrible with math. if I compare to the clarity I had 10 years ago till now, it's fucking ridiculous as well. And then like 10 more years, it's fucking probably even crazier. You know what I mean? Right. And then a fucking 46-year-old is looking at you. Maybe, I don't know if any 46-year-olds listen to this, but like a 46-year-old's looking at you like, dude, he has no idea what he's in for. The fucking, you know what I'm saying?
That part, and then also too, the flip side of that is that there's probably somebody 44 right now who is just now getting what you got at 26.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
you know what I mean? So I try to respect all those perspectives on it, but in realizing that, age ain't nothing but a number until you get back pain. I'm just playing. Age is nothing but a number. The most important thing aside from, what should I be at this age is for me at least is, this is an endless growing cycle. There's never going to be a point in time where I am tapped out and I say, man, I can't learn anything else. I love the fact that here I am 34 and, what can be looked at as a young man's game, I am at my I'm like Super Saiyan when it comes to the content, when it comes to, the reach of my audience. That has not been like that throughout my career. And it took me here to where now what I think my audience likes is the fact that the pace that I move at, that I talk at, the confidence that I speak with, they see that either in themselves or they want that for themselves at some point in time. Yeah. And I'm telling you, there's certain things that I just, you cannot teach someone until they go through, whether it's heartbreak, whether it's loss, whether it's, you just keep bouncing back. Like I am unrelentless. I don't care what you have thrown at me. I am unrelentless. I am going to continue to keep growing and going. But you realize not everybody has that, man. And even at 34, 50, 44, 54, I've seen people give up at 27, bro. Like people that I used to run with full time with this music, they are nowhere to be found.
Yeah. How did you get into everything? Like, give me a little, because I usually do a background story at the start, but we kind of just ran through that. But how did you get into like music and like what age did you start and all that?
So I got into
a little bit because you said you're on tour too. Like you probably have a hell of a story so far.
Oh man, yeah. I mean, I'm trying to figure out where to start. But when it comes to me working on music, honestly, I started off as an artist first, and the whole damn thing started off a bet. Right, my best friend in the whole world, Keaton, we were in high school, and he just happened to mention have you ever thought about rapping? And it was such a goofy thing to us because all the rappers were like, they weren't like the coolest kids at school because, you know, they would all be around a bunch of dudes, and at that time I didn't understand it was called a cipher, and I'm like, man, I'm trying to be over here with these ladies, and like I'm trying to, you know what I mean, like or play some basketball or whatever it is, and I didn't realize, you know, the power of self-expression. So in that point we made a bet, basically said, okay, here's what we're gonna do. He told me, he said, get off the phone. In 30 minutes, we'll call each other back and write as many bars as you can write, and then we'll recite it. And first 16 bars I had were terrible. Oh, they were atrocious. I was talking about like Red Bulls and Blues Clues and anything in the room that was like rhyming with words. And so I just rapped, you know, and rapped it. And he was like, okay, this was interesting, but you know, maybe we should keep doing it. It was kind of fun. I was like, yeah, it was kind of fun. But literally that led me into, okay, now that we're rapping, we need beats. And at the time, the biggest things were BearShare and Napster. I'm really showing my age. BearShare, LimeWire, and Napster, and those were like the biggest things you can download instrumentals from. We got to the point where we started doing mixtapes and realizing every single body that was pushing out a mixtape in our area had the same exact beats. And so we needed to make a change. And so we ended up going to what was, before it became GameStop, the biggest sort of video game spot was called Electronic Boutique, and it was in a mall next to our high school.
That's so funny. It was called Funkoland or like Funkoland or something where I was.
Oh, really?
Before GameStop. Yeah, they must have bought out a bunch of like little stores like that.
Somebody with some money was like, no, this is what a GameStop. We're gonna call it GameStop, and all the games is gonna stop. But no, we went to the mall looking to get NBA 2K3. For his Dreamcast at that, and we went in there. We both had some saved up money from like the holidays, and as we were, you know, as he was looking at the game, he went to go play a game, and I went to go look through the used section because I had a PlayStation, he had a Dreamcast, and I happened to find, I was looking, I found Crash Bandicoot, I found Tomb Raider 2, then I found this game called MTV Music Generator. And I didn't quite know what it was. It looked kind of corny when I looked at the packaging. I was like, maybe it could be something. And I started reading the description, and it was the very thing that we needed because we had an abundance of raps over mixtape beats, but we didn't have a lot of original beats. And at the time, people in our area who were selling beats, leases were like $700 and $800 just to lease a beat. Yeah. That was not going down for a high schooler at that point in time for me financially. So it was like, out of necessity, we had to make a decision. Slept on it, came back, bought the game, bought the MTV Generator, and for the next few months, I drilled into it, and I tried to just make a beast out of myself with no prior music experience. I just went in and took all kind of ridicule, took all kind of, people telling me it sounded too video gamey, and I'm like, well, duh, it's a video game. And eventually it transitioned from that to FL Studio, and but that literally was my gateway drug into music, was a PlayStation game that literally changed the rest of my music career. But that's how I got into it. Start off as a bet,
things, man.
And then production became a necessity. So I would suggest for anybody that is like one of your younger listeners, everything that you're doing counts right now. It may seem like it doesn't really matter. The 100%. Amount of time you spend on video games, it doesn't really matter. This is the thing about it. You don't necessarily have to change everything about yourself to become what you want to become. It's going to change regardless. You just got to be purposeful about what you're doing. So we spent a lot of times on video games because we were in high school. We were young. I was like 16, 17. We were young, and we were just playing video games anyways. And it was like, well, while we're playing video games and writing raps, why don't we find a way to merge the two? So I got a video game that I could make music on, and it took some time. It took patience, a lot of patience that I really didn't have, but I kept going, and I was just, my hunger was stronger than my patience. That was a big part of it, is that I just wanted to grow and be better. And eventually it led me to where I'm at today and the business that I have with Curtis King Beats. But man, shout out to PlayStation, shout out to MTV Generator. That started my career off.
Yeah, the reason I got into music in the first place was, I think it was my birthday or something. And I was in Best Buy with my mom, and I saw there was a keyboard, like a piano keyboard. And it was one of those situations where I was just like, I've always seen people have keyboards, like, the little electronic keyboards. Mm-hmm. And I was just there with my mom, and it was like, I was like, all right, this is my birthday present. like begging her for it, and then like the next fucking week or something for my birthday, like that was it. And it was like an expensive ass fucking keyboard too. Shout out to my mom. And then like couldn't figure out how to play it. This is before like YouTube tutorials were really big for like playing keyboards and shit, like pianos.
Right.
And then I couldn't sell it. Nobody would buy it. I tried to sell it. And then eventually it was just there so long that like over the years I kind of learned how to play some stuff. Learn how to play like the Titanic and like random popular songs that you'll hear, and just like, and then it got a little bit more complicated. And then I never really figured out how to like make a beat out of it. So that never happened until like, that was when I was in high school. And then I didn't figure out how to like start making beats until I was like 20. And then like in college. And the reason I started is because my whole apartment got robbed when I was in college. Someone stole my MacBook. So fucking like the only I needed to like do some schoolwork, so shout out to my mom. I got me like a shitty like a PC, like a $200 PC,
right?
Like a little laptop. And then from there I was like, oh shit, wait, now I can get FL Studio, because I was trying to get Logic, and I was like, oh wait, now I can get FL Studio, which is fucking, I see more people using anyways instead of like GarageBand and shit, because I was making beats on GarageBand and stuff like at like my school's computer lab and everything, and I was like, oh shit, like FL Studio, fucking got it, and that was it. So I started pretty late.
Man. It all worked out though, man. That's it, man. It all.
That was
worked
the worst
out.
day of my life too. Is when my whole apartment got robbed. Like it was just not a good feeling. Like hella stuff got robbed. Like money,
I've been there.
Xbox, and I was already fucking broke because I was in college. Like I don't have money. I was playing soccer in college. Like I couldn't get a job because I was playing soccer.
Yeah.
Like you just had my bank account was negative. Like you're just fucking around like in college, like going out on the weekends playing soccer, like, and yeah, I got robbed. So
but you know, shout out to moms though for investing into your dream, because that did a whole lot to you know, that said a whole lot about what she believed with you and how supportive she was of your craft. My mom did the same thing. My first audio interface was this Omega Lexicon audio interface that she got. She went to Guitar Center. She asked all the right questions, and she came and brought me an audio interface. I'll never forget it. It was on a Christmas. She bought me my first audio interface. I didn't even know what it did, but it was an audio interface. She bought me my microphone. I had a Shure microphone, and then she bought me these 2 drum packs, right, that you know you just get from Guitar Center. And I didn't know what I was doing, but I was excited, and it was the middle of obviously in the middle of the cold, and I was on the base. I was on the patio. My grandparents had a patio. We lived with my grandparents. They had a patio that you could, you would breathe and you would see your breath. It's like being out in the middle of the snow. But I was out there. My mom said all she saw was just me out there cooking with the smoke coming up from my face. But it was just like, this is what you do for what you love. Yeah, that's huge. That's huge that she was willing to invest. But it does suck when that happens. I've had plenty of situations happen like that. I had a time where my laptop was in a backpack that was stuffed underneath a friend's car of mine, and literally they broke into his car while we were at a show and stole nothing but the laptop. So they must have seen it. And I lost my whole catalog.
Classic fucking tour. I feel like that has never happened to me on tour, but fucking, I don't know how it hasn't happened to me, honestly.
Man.
I'm so fucking, I still have the same MacBook here right next to me today.
Right.
That I've had for every fucking tour I've went on, DJ'd, and we were drinking.
Oh, man.
On some of those. So how did you get into all that? Like you said you're on tour with Murs, like that's fucking sick.
Right. Well, Murs. I was an artist first. So,
You're on tour as an artist?
I was on tour as an artist with Murs. I was an opening act with a buddy of mine named Noah James, who was also an artist from the San Bernardino, IE area. And, Murs had a festival called Paid Dues. And this is how I first kind of got on. Well, I was already on his radar because of the work that I did with Ab-Soul and Kendrick Lamar. But as a producer, he wasn't really taking me serious as a rapper until I went on a campaign where for 98 straight days, I just launched this unrelentless social media campaign that anywhere he showed up, my audience showed up to basically say, yo, Curtis King has paid his dues. He's put his years in. He's worked with these, these artists, and he's really put the work in, and he did his research, and he saw that. And on the 98th day, I got a phone call from him telling me that I will be one of the opening acts for a festival called Paid Dues. Mind you, it had, Odd Future, it had Wu-Tang, it had Wiz Khalifa. It was so many different names on there that I ended up opening up for, and that sort of built a relationship. And then from there, I provided him some production, and I remember I opened up for him for a Christmas show in Anaheim. And he had a sold out crowd out there, and I went in. I just killed it.
That's the best,
man. And that night, he said, you know what, man? Like, I want to give you guys an opportunity to go on tour with me, but only thing is, we won't be paying you. You're gonna have to pay your way through. Some dates you'll get paid, but literally anywhere that you can follow me in the U.S., you got a spot. And it was I didn't realize it was like longer than most tours are, but it was 2 months, 50 cities, 25 states. 2 months away from home, just in the van, having to get rooms.
How did you do that? How did you manage to do that?
Right, we went with 7 people, which was good and bad. It was good because
must have been hella money too.
Man, there's people still in debt from that tour, and I'm not one of them, thank God. But there's people still in debt because we would go to a tour stop and we literally had to teach ourselves how to sell ourselves, because at home, people already kind of knew who we were. Like, we were local artists. The people knew exactly who we were. So we didn't really have to sell our products. When you get out there and people are like, all right, I just saw what you did on stage. What you got going on here? We had to kill it on stage to a level that they said we want to invest in something. And literally every CD sale, every single T-shirt sale, there was no money in the pocket. We were like, ahead of ourselves. Like, we're gonna make profit on this on our first tour. Hell no, we even breaking even was gonna be a miracle, and we didn't do that, right?
I mean, dude, even like for a fucking regular artists now, just going on a headlining tour of like sold out crowds, like, man, profiting is still like a conversation like that they have. Like,
it's still a possible,
like,
but
you'll like they have to sell merch to profit still. Like, and they can't just fucking.
And mind you, it was 7 of us, so that meant that we, there were certain situations in which we tried to, in the beginning, sort of like, do the broke artist thing, where it's 7 of us sharing a 1-bed, hotel or motel, and we got caught the first night, and they were taking pictures of the car, taking pictures of us, and it was like, okay, we can't do it like that no more. So we had to get a system where, 2 of us would check in, and then when it was lights out, we would just basically go from the truck and one by one kind of take our bags in there. But it was 7 of us, and most of us really didn't need to be on the tour, but it was like, we're all part of the same label. And I'll tell you, man, we had to learn a lot about ourselves. We had to learn a lot about our label, because anybody who's familiar knows that the label kind of we went our separate ways after that tour, because like I said, you learn a lot about each other, good and bad. You learn a lot about each other.
That's one of the most valuable fucking things, was just going on tour. I don't know what it was, but like, you learn a lot so quickly.
I'll tell you exactly what it is. When you smell somebody else's breath, whether you want to or not, when you got to be around they stinking ass and they draws, and you got to be around, and you get to see people's habits, you get to see what they do and don't do.
You're
get
just
to see
around people 24/7.
Man, you get to see their most irritable moments, and it comes to a head, and you start to realize it's almost like, if you're dating somebody, you don't know who you're dating until you live with them, right? And then when you live with them, it's like, I can't stand you. And not to say that was the scenario, but we did learn a lot about each other and what we all wanted. And it all became clear that some of us wanted to be artists.
And then you were sitting there, show number 50, and you're like, you know what? I think I just want a 5-bedroom fucking house.
I'm done. Like, honestly, I was
the same way, bro.
But honestly, I wasn't even at that point yet, to be honest. When I came off tour, I was in so much debt that my thing was, I need to push myself as an artist full time. It still wasn't clicking to me that production was going to be my main source of income. I just started cooking. I said, I got to get music. I got to get shows. And being an artist, especially nowadays, this was 2013, if you don't have income behind you, and I mean consistent income,
Yeah,
good
I don't even. It's impossible.
luck,
in my opinion.
right. Good luck. I mean, yes, you can have a song that takes off, but at that point you're playing the lottery. You need to have money behind you, and it is an expensive game where you can't just have some kind of money. You need money that is funneling on a regular basis to get this oil going, right? To oil this engine, I should say. And so I did it that way. It was the wrong way. And then I ended up getting in even worse debt after a month of being home. And my back was against the wall, and I just happened to ask my buddy. I was like, man, yo, what's going on with this beat leasing thing? Like, what is it all about? Like, I see you seem to be living good. you hardly on the internet. What's going on, bro? Like, and he gave me the spiel on it, and that is what transitioned me, to the next phase of my career, which was full-time producer. But it took a minute to get there.
Were you big? So you started in the SoundClick days then?
I mean, 2013 was really like after the golden age of the SoundClick years.
Yeah,
but, I was familiar with it. Yeah, I was familiar with it, but it was like, to me, because I came from trying to pursue the industry, I was always told by A&Rs and producers in the industry, oh man, don't sell your beats for low because you're selling yourself cheap. Those guys are just people who, they're not making any real money. They'll never make it in the industry. They're blackballed from the industry. I heard all that stuff. And what I realized was that
they're making hella money.
I didn't know that at first, but what I realized was that it was like, damn, these guys are being so critical of these producers, but they don't seem to be too well off themselves. They seem like they're still trying to make it. And it wasn't until I got into it, and I had never, and I'll be very, very transparent about that. Up until I started leasing beats, there was never a month that I made more than $1,200 or $1,000, right?
That's crazy.
Every single month it was like it could fluctuate between $75 a month, $75 a month to maybe during somebody's the beginning of the year where it's tax season and somebody gets like a student loan and they start paying for beats, right? Because I was selling my beats for dirt cheap.
Yeah.
I had never made, right, and more than $1,000 in a year, right? So I shouldn't say a year. That's stretching it. It was well below 10,000. I'll say that.
Yeah.
And then the first year that the first month that I actually started selling my beats and leasing my beats online, under the mentorship of a producer named Awesome, I made $2,000 the first month, and I could not believe my PayPal because it wasn't like the money was flowing in and I was just stacking it. I was already in debt, so all the money was like money in, money out, money back invested, and I had to keep going. Thing. So I didn't know. Yeah, you don't know, right? You don't know that first month, or you just not paying attention to how much money you're getting in. Because at that point, I wasn't quite entrepreneurial phase. I was just hustling, and then it dawned on me. I looked at my second month. I was like, I'm getting a little bit more air. I wonder how much money I made last month. And I seen 2 G's, and I was like, yo, there's people that go to school for 4 years and don't get to this point. And I was like, well, how much can we push it? And the next month was about 3,000, 4,000. Next month was about 5,000. And it just kept going up. And there was no ceiling to what I was doing. And so because of that, man, it got me to the point where it was like, it gave me my most important superpower that I lost when I went in the industry. The ability to say no. Because when you're broke and you
100%. Feel
like you need these situations, it's hard for you to say no, because even artists that you don't believe in, if they have money, they have power.
Because that's why I like industry and like people and fucking sitting in offices like that or whatever will say that shit because that's the biggest fucking most valuable thing about selling beats on the internet as a producer or making money as a producer is fucking now you have the leverage. Like if we're making fucking 6 figures, I don't have to sign shit. I can record all my own videos. I can edit them all. I can fucking do everything. I don't need anyone.
Why leave the house?
I'm gonna live in Temecula.
Look, I'm in Diego, and I told you this is why I moved out here. People are like hitting me up, like, "Yo, do you record artists?" Hell no, I don't. And this is not a shot to any artist, but I'm like, I didn't come out here to build in the scene. I came out here to get away. I came out here to be around neighbors that don't know anything about who I am, but they're successful and they inspire me. When I see these cars in the driveway, it's not that I'm materialistic about the cars, but I look at it and say, yo, I got to step my game up, right? I'm the only Kia owner on my block. And that's good because it's going to make me step my game up, set the bar higher. But I could not do that being around other artists and producers who were literally fighting for crumbs or literally fighting for just a little bit of leverage and petty about the leverage. I need to be around people who have elevated themselves, elevated their own game, and therefore would elevate mine. And so that's what happened. So now that I'm looking at it, I'm like, bro, my biggest superpower right now is the ability to say no. Hell no, emphatically. I will not go to your industry mixer. I will not go to your studio session. I don't have to. Why do I have to do that? I am building exactly. My thing is this. People are like, man, you're so lucky you live so close to LA. Like people on the East Coast. And I'm like, you have no idea. You probably spend more time in the East Coast than I do. And I'm sorry, you spend more time in LA than I do. And you live on the East Coast.
Yeah.
Because exactly. I don't, LA is beautiful. There's a lot of great people out there, but it is the most beautiful place to waste money. Yeah. Whatever you're into. If you're into
I just think it's good to be different too. Like I just want to live in the nice weather. I always say to LA cuz it might as well be close to fucking people I can collaborate with.
Right.
But like it's also good to be a little different and like visit LA. You know what I mean? And have something new to bring cuz all the people like you see a lot of people living in LA and you kind of start blending in together and you're going to the same fucking things and now everyone's music fucking sounds the same. Your whole brand looks the same. Like
I tell you,
it's
go ahead.
It's kind of good to live somewhere fucking random and bring your own shit to the table. You know?
Gotta do it because that peace of mind that you have living somewhere, living as far as I do, the peace of mind that I have whenever I go into the city, I'm foreign to them. They feel it in my energy. My energy doesn't feel like everybody's energy out there. And I shouldn't say everybody, but the majority of like rappers and producers that are out there is. Okay, are you going to be my next, not my next come up, but are you going to help me get to my next stage? It's all like, it's a taking energy. It's I need energy. And they don't realize that they're in that place because they're in an environment that teaches you have to get yours. It's capitalism, dog eat dog. But dogs don't eat dogs, right? And first of all, and second of all, here's the thing about it is that when you have that peace of mind and that moment to just tell your brain, shut the fuck up. What do you really want? When you are able to sit there and say, what do you want? Those questions get answered and you start to do things dramatically different. And so I started asking myself, why am I in this studio session? Why am I at this show? I'm losing money right now. I should be at home
all the fucking time, bro. And whenever I'm in a situation, even if I'm just like, maybe I do it a little too much, but like even if I'm just in a situation where I'm just like, you're just hanging out somewhere, and I'm just like, all right, what the fuck are we doing here? Like,
listen like, to that voice. That voice is gonna make you. That voice is gonna make you a millionaire, right? That one thing that I've been sitting here actively researching is the ability to operate a business without social media. That is like one of my things. I haven't even like set that as a goal this year, but that is something I'm actively doing. One thing I started to do was I use my iPhone as my biggest tool. My iPhone, everybody's iPhone has a screen time and now has the app limiter that limits your time on these apps. I have an hour and a half to do whatever I have to do on Instagram, Twitter, and our Facebook. I deleted Facebook actually off of there, but I have an hour and a half to operate. If I don't do anything in that hour and a half, or if I overuse that, I can't get it. Like the first day I did it, I got locked out from 5 p.m. till 12 a.m. the next day, right? So, no, you got to find your way to get back in control. And, one of the videos I saw, I think it was Alex Becker was talking about, you don't see Jeff Bezos on Twitter just wasting his time away. Like, what you guys up to? I got a poll, guys. What do you guys think? What'll be tight for me to do for Amazon? Should I do that? He's not doing that. Like he doesn't. He has results. He has success. So why are we made to believe? What would be
tight for me to do for Amazon?
Imagine Jeff Bezos. Like imagine
that's what he would get fucking 500,000 retweets.
Imagine Bill Gates getting on there and is like, so, how you guys feeling about this new Xbox update? Like give me some word. Like hit me up. What's the deal? Like, is it lit?
What's his name does it, dude? The fucking Tesla dude.
What? And look what happened to his company the more active he became into that world, right? Look what happened to the things behind closed doors. And now as you look at him and he's starting to regain traction, is when he got away from social media. He got off of that Joe Rogan podcast. He got away. He's not trying to be socialite and business genius. And there's so many people, there's only so many small percentage of people who can thread that line, right? Like a Gary Vee. This is his business to be the face of his business. It's Gary Vaynerchuk Media, right? He has to do that.
That's how I am though. Like
right.
I fucking like I mean 99% of my social media usage is like answering messages that are fans of mine, or like just like researching stuff or putting out content or whatever, and just like looking into new, and obviously when that's your whole business, like Instagram, Twitter, emails, like the YouTube fucking analytics, like that's those things right there as my whole entire life.
Absolutely.
And like sometimes obviously something comes up, but you click on it and you fuck around for a little bit, but I don't know. I'm pretty good at like I've seen it all. You know what I mean? I've seen it all.
You stay out the rabbit hole. The rabbit hole is the danger about it. You know, I'm all about responding. You got to respond back to your people, right? You got to let them know that you're engaged and you're locked in.
Try my best.
And that's great that you do that, because I think that is a really big factor in building a large and loyal following. Not just a large, but a loyal following. But tell me if this ever happened. I don't know what you into besides music, but I'm a sports fan. I'm a Laker fan. I love watching videos about my Lakers.
Highlights.
Right, not even highlights. It goes beyond that. Just listening to like the pundits, listening to the Stephen A. Smiths, listening to Shannon Sharp and Max Kellerman and all these guys, and I'll go there looking to watch one 10-minute, 5-minute video about the best ergonomic computer chair. I watch that video, and in my suggested, what does it say? The reason why the Lakers are probably not going to get to the conference finals. Maybe I should watch that. It's only 5 minutes.
I do it on YouTube a little bit. On my phone, I don't really do it, but like I think YouTube on my computer, I do it sometimes.
Yeah. And I'm saying it's all about controlling that, man. And props to you for being able to control that. But I know that I myself, just like the majority of everybody else out here, it is hard. It is very challenging.
It just makes me fucking depressed. So I go, all right, you know what? I'm just gonna fucking close this out because I'm gonna get fucking depressed because I just wasted an hour fucking looking at random shit.
But you know what? Cocaine does for some people too, and they still do it. They continue to do it until they can't no more. And that's what I'm saying is that because people don't really take it serious as an addiction, people don't really take it serious, like not knowing that these things spike off the same dopamine as cocaine and crack. Like these things spike off the same dopamine. They don't take it serious. And I think that there's a video that I watched that talked about the idea of a death by 1,000 cuts. And if you're using social media in short spurts of time, of course you're going to be convinced that, it's not really doing anything to what I'm doing. I'm still getting my work done. I'm still working on music, but it's still extracting energy, it's extracting focus, and extracting time. And if that time could have been dedicated towards strengthening something that's already working for you, at what cost do you have to do that on a more regular basis, right? If you don't do that on a regular basis, what happens? So I'm at the point now where it may sound very anal, it may sound very tit for tat, but I want to have the most successful financial year that I have ever had, and I want to do it away from social media, right? And I know that what that's gonna require is the best customer service that I have ever, right? That I have ever delivered.
How do you feel about because for me, I'm making more money than I thought I would ever make.
Right.
Not that I thought, because I was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna be a millionaire. When you're growing up, I'm gonna be an entrepreneur, and I was always starting companies and stuff. I started this one company that we got an investment for $100,000, and when we were going into it, we were like, all right, this is when apps were starting to get big. People were starting to get iPhones.
Right.
We're like, all right, we're gonna make this app. We had a website, tons of traction. We're gonna turn it into an app, and we're not selling it for anything less than $50 million. You know what I mean? That was at the time we're like, dude, all right, nothing less than 50 million. That's the maximum. But obviously that is fucking ridiculous now thinking about it. But I don't know. I feel like I'm at the point now where I'm like, all right, I could fucking plug my kit a little bit more, or I could just I don't know. I'm at the point now where I'm just really, I just want as many fucking subscribers and followers and listeners to the podcast and people just obsessed with the Kyle Beats fucking brand as possible. And then I want to cash out on, like, obviously you want to cash out, but I just want to deliver fucking amazing products. Because, like, for me personally, I just worry about, like, all right, if I make fucking hundreds of thousands of dollars the next couple of years, and then year 4, fucking my videos start getting less views because of it, or, like, you know what I mean? Or, like, I'm worried about putting out these products and videos aren't going out, or whatever fucking people are doing isn't going out. And I don't know. Like, I'm like, how do you feel about just like the brand and the money side of things? And I think they can work. I think you can balance them too.
Sure.
Like, I think if you put out really good products, and you put out a shit ton of videos too. So like, you're like me, you have a lot of videos out. So
yeah, it helps. It helps to batch. It helps to have archive. It helps to be purposeful. And I think that's what I'm really getting at, is that I'm not trying to, start this huge exodus from social media, because it's an important tool. My thing is this, in the words of the great philosopher Diamond from Players Club, who was a stripper, make the money, don't let it make you. And my idea is use social media. Don't let social media use you, because while you are, not you yourself, I'm just saying anybody listening, while you are convincing yourself, oh yeah, all of this is business, I'm building up my brand, all this is business. Even when I'm watching videos on my timeline, this is all business. But they're not people who are ever going to consume from you. They're not people that are going to ever buy from you. At what point in time do you strike that, you know what, this is not business anymore? And it's a very thin line, right? Because you can be convinced of all that, but until we are able to have a real conversation with us, there's a ceiling for that, right? Because at some point in time, you're going to have to make the decision. I always say it about the grind of rappers or producers. Fortune or fame, one has to come first, right? One of them's going to come first. I'm not saying you can't have both, but one of them has to come first. There is not a fortune and fame at the same time, right? Even if you win the lottery, you got the fortune, then people found out that you won the lottery. So one of them's going to come the first. And when you understand what you're campaigning towards, what is your why? That is so important. What is the why? Because whatever your why is, that is the fuel behind your machine. A lot of people out here right now, a lot of producers who are looking at your videos, looking at my videos, in their minds, they're like, yo, I just want to have as many subscribers. They want fame. They want fame. And I'm telling you, fame is the Cool Whip to the strawberry. Fame is the sour cream to your bean dip.
Trash.
It's, you know what I'm saying? Like it's.
If I could start Amazon and be behind the scenes, I probably would.
And that's what I'm saying is that yes, social media is very important, but you got to be purposeful about what you're doing. Even now, as I'm thinking about videos, I'm like, if it's not something that is going to give my audience actual results on Curtis King TV, if you're not getting results from this, if I'm just doing a bunch of, hype content and I'm just, doing clickbait, I am literally wasting my time and their time, no matter how much money I'm making, because that's not anywhere near my purpose. But if I'm on there and I have a video that I am really trying to drive home, and not to say that entertainment is not a necessity, it is a necessity. I think that's what the cook up videos and the behind the beat videos. Yeah, you need the escapism. We all use it.
That's how fucking. I mean, I don't know about you, but that's how I am where I am, because I was fucking inspired by, how many fucking Ryan Leslie videos I watched in college. I watched the same videos over and over.
This funny guy ordering stuff on his black card, ordering trumpets on his black card, and shaking change inside of a cup, while in a suit and not breaking a sweat. Now, I remember those videos vividly. And that entertainment is definitely a necessity, but that's what I think is that there's a lot of people who are, especially producers, man. I love producers, and this is why I am so critical of my peers, because so many of us are on a wild goose chase, chasing the next thing that looks the most attainable, right? One person goes viral from doing, videos on their Instagram where all they're doing is just sitting on the beat pad, and that goes viral. Then I got to be the next person to do that. Cash Money AP goes crazy with his SEO with the type beats, and they're like, okay, I got to go get a monopoly on YouTube. And then they just chase after all these people's different blueprints, and they never sit down at the fucking table and pull out a pen and make your own blueprint. Right? Yeah. Even if, who cares if it doesn't work?
That's just humans, though. I think
it is. It's the sheepish mentality. But you know what? That's why now I feel so much better about the. There was a time where I wasn't feeling good. Like, it didn't matter how many times I said rappers and producers. It didn't matter. It didn't feel good to do these videos anymore.
Every time you say that, it just makes me think about the video. You say it the same way every time.
Oh man. And that was purposeful, but every time I was doing it, I wasn't feeling good. I was feeling like, why do I feel like I'm wasting my time? Not because of the audience. That was because of me. It wasn't purposeful anymore. It became just, this is now another stream of income and I need to keep it going. So let me kind of repeat myself. And that has its own value, but that's not purposeful for what I want to do. I want to get out here and actually give some people some results that will really change their lives. And so now as I look at it, I'm like, okay, not only can I do videos that give people results, but I can also make videos that, build an affiliate relationship to where now I can do affiliate marketing for companies that I truly believe in. And I can bring people their way, but at the same time, talk passionately about something I use myself. There's so many different ways to make this here thing work. You just got to be, you imagine, and this is about goal setting. Imagine that you sat in your car and you opened up your Maps app and you said, take me there. Siri will look at you like you're an idiot. Take me where? Take you where? And you just say, take me there. Okay. I don't know where there is. And it would go off. But if you tell Siri, look, I need you to take me to a 7-bedroom house in Temecula that is off of this street and this street and is surrounded by this and this, it knows where to send you, right? And I think a lot of people are goal setting like that. They're getting on the internet and wasting hours and hours of time being semi-inspired and semi-jealous of other producers that found an original way or semi-original way to present themselves.
I think it's just like, I think it's just good to, because like, here's the thing. It's just like, my first beats all sounded like Jalil Beats type beats. Okay. My first beat making video probably was trying to emulate a Ryan Leslie beat making video that nobody has ever seen because it was never uploaded. Probably.
You had a suit on? Tell me you had a suit on.
Absolutely not. But like, it's good to like, cause like that's how you create, right? It's like, right. Oh, you hear fucking Nas rap, I'm gonna rap like Nas, and then the next day you hear this other rapper rap, and then you combine that, and then eventually you getting inspired by all these different places, and then you make your own style. But like, I always tell people that it's cool if you make a video that's pretty much my video but with a poor quality camera in your own words and tweeting it at me, but like, it's not gonna, don't get frustrated if copying someone else's like thing doesn't work. You know what I mean? Like this,
absolutely.
There's a lot of producers that have like the same logos as other producers who have been successful, upload the same type of beats, same branding, everything. And like, it's cool. Like, you're creating, like, you kind of feel like, oh, look, I'm creating something. It's like when people go to the watercolor painting things and they drink wine and they're like, oh, look what I drew. But like, it looks so cool because you don't realize you were just copying the fucking main artist. Right. And it's cool to create something like that. But like, that's not, the fucking lady who showed you how to do that is going to sell her fucking painting, not you. You know what I mean?
Right.
So
and
like,
that has its own. No, but you know what? And I think this is where we have to draw the line too. With that has its value, right? In the beginning, we all are emulating like, because. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I was gonna say it just makes you inspired.
Sure,
just like
sure.
Fills that creative need.
And now, what I was gonna say, it does fill a creative need. What I was gonna say is that we all have that. There's no school for this music production, at least not when I was starting. There wasn't, these schools that make you become a better producer. You got to kind of learn by emulating, learn by, seeing other people's techniques and seeing which you, trying it on and seeing if it fits you. And that is the initial stages. I think what we're talking about ultimately is the recipe for your best success, your ultimate success. And some people, not even some people, most people out here that are producing, that are, building a following, they would be very much satisfied with results that are a lot less than what they're able to attain, right? Because some people think, you know what, if I get a place of my own, and I'm not saying like this is anything wrong with that. I get an apartment, I get, a place to make my beats, I'm able to pay rent, early, I got a car, I got, my homies around, I got my Xbox, I got, a few pretty girls that come around. Like that, for them, that's it. That's the ultimate dream. But there's going to come a time, and this is why I warn about, just following other folks, is that there's going to come a time when you're like, fuck that. I am something, right? I got to make my Wikipedia page. My Wikipedia page cannot be copy paste of everybody else. Somebody had to be Blueface. Somebody had to get on a beat and say, I'm not going to rap on the beat. I'm going to be so me that people are going to ridicule it. They're going to hate it. They're going to talk about it. But then I'm going to have so much audacity and so much confidence in me that I will build a following off of doing exactly what they said you couldn't do. And that's what I'm getting at, is that these are the recipes for massive success. And not everybody wants massive success. Some people are terrified of it. I was terrified at one point of it, but you have to be very self-conscious. Not self-conscious, self-aware that that's what you want. Some people don't want massive success because of the massive responsibility that comes with it. And I think that's what I try to make sure that with my audience, I let them know, look, I'm not giving you tools to be mediocre, right? That's cool. That's cool for right now. But at some point, you're going to say, yo, Curtis, this shit is not enough. I need more. Well, here's how you get more. Because I'm definitely in the pursuit of the same exact thing.
Feel you. Feel you 100%. I mean, I'm on the same page. Like, I feel like I have like a vision of what I want to do. And I don't want to be Justin fucking Bieber, but like, I want to grow a giant fucking YouTube vlog channel where it's like no artist is doing that. No artist is putting out fucking. It's like I have music that I'm putting out too. I don't know if I told you that, but I have songs that I'm working on. First songs ever. But I can send you some too.
Absolutely.
But I want to have like videos for them, and I want to fucking, even if I don't make it as an artist and the Spotify gets fucking 4 views, I want to brand myself in a way where I'm like a YouTuber, talented music maker, like a creator. You know what I mean? Right. I make videos. Like, I was doing music videos before all this too, like before the beats started going, and fucking I was telling my business, websites. Like, I know how to do everything. That's what when I was on those tours, that's what people were calling me, was like the tour package. Because like I was fucking cutting people's hair, I was fucking DJing, getting the sound right, like doing everything. Because I knew how to do. On the way to the other venue, I'd be editing the fucking Instagram video, even though I was the DJ. And then like cutting people before I went on for a fucking set, like fucking fading people up, and like I just want to be the biggest fucking creator around like music that people actually fucking take seriously. Because there's YouTubers that do music, you know what I mean, and have millions of subscribers, but like nobody fucking, it's just like, it's not like culturally known, you know. So it's like, I want to be a musician on YouTube, hopefully an artist. Hopefully, I think I'm gonna keep going with it. It's fucking improving at a pretty quick pace.
As long as you're having fun and you love the process, man.
I just like the finished piece of work, you know, that you put out. That's what I like.
Yeah,
I just like the finished, whatever it is, video, fucking anything. Yeah. Just like fills that. I want to put out a music video. That's like half the reason I started making music.
Just do it. Just do it, man.
I film a sick music video.
I tell you, I knew there was time for me to move on when that became like one of the biggest headaches. It wasn't fun creatively for me. It was like, damn, where do we have to go rent out? What can we rent out? Who's going to direct it? Who is going to edit? I don't want to have to edit it myself, because I edited most of my music videos going up in my career. But yeah, man, if you love it and you love the process, you know, there's a lot of people who have passed on, and there's a lot of regrets sitting in grave sites right now. A lot of regrets sitting out there in the graveyards. And a lot of people who have unwritten books, a lot of people who have songs that never got written because they were worried about things that wouldn't matter 40 years from when they were thinking about doing it. So I suggest to you and anybody else, if you want to do it, this is now the time to do it.
I just think it would be. I just think it would be fucking huge for everything. Like the brand, if I'm selling out fucking shows of thousands of people, first of all, like doing shows like that, the energy, I've done shows in front of like, I mean, you probably did the same thing, but like a couple fucking thousand people, you hop out there DJing, and it's fucking, the energy from like a lit crowd is fucking amazing.
It's a rush.
Number two, if I have a brand where fucking people know me, and like you have more of a voice as like an artist, you know what I mean? I feel like you have more to offer. It does more for the brand, and I don't know, I feel like it's just the fucking next step to like I just want to inspire as many fucking people, and I feel like I just have the right mindset to fucking say the right things, and
Well, let me ask you this: if you know, not to put you on the spot, but for those things that you laid out, from the thrill of it, and even from the expansion of the brand, let me ask you this: what is the undeniable why in all that? Because a lot of those things are benefits and features, but what is the why behind that? If you had to pinpoint it behind wanting to become an artist,
I think a few things. I think one, it's just like, I think it just provides more value, just like business wise. I think it provides more value. So it's like it's like hitting another, it's like why I created the podcast, you know, it's just like hitting a different, it's just like hitting it. Like people like beats, but not everyone fucking listens to beats. People like songs. I know there's a kid in fucking Wisconsin that's going to listen to one of my songs that fucking hates his parents. He's sitting in the backyard, fucking looking out somewhere random, like depressed as fuck, listening to my songs. Right. Then he goes listen to the podcast, and it's just, you know what I mean? It's just like another thing that I'm hitting, and I don't fucking know. Like, I think it's just to inspire as many people as possible, just because that's because I was such a fucking loner, like played video games all the time. Like, I was an athlete, played soccer and shit, but like, I don't know, like I was just fucking a loner, and like everyone around me is getting fucking jobs. No, music is fucking an afterthought. Soccer was an afterthought where I'm from, Boston. Nobody fucking plays soccer here. Like my whole family's Irish, so like I grew up playing soccer. Right. And fucking, I don't know, like listening to inspirational videos of like Will Smith and people talking, and like obviously now there's so many fucking videos like that you can listen to in podcasts. Sure. But like, and like music and stuff like that was what helps you escape, you know what I mean? And I don't know, just like inspiring people is like I feel like that's my passion, I think.
And to play devil's advocate, I think somebody would say, well, you're doing that now. So then why? Yeah. Why? And I'm not discouraging. I'm just drilling into a point.
I think you can just reach more. Like if somebody like, all right, I'm lit now, right? I have say I have 1 million subscribers, fucking doing exactly what I'm doing. Say an exact opposite scenario. I'm putting out music. I have 1 million subscribers. I'm fucking selling out shows of 2,000 people. Right. I'm fucking in my fucking studio right now, by myself, like doing nothing, and these videos are fucking insane. You know what I mean? Because like I have the ability to, I think it's just to create more too, to have the opportunity to create more off of it. You can make music videos, you can make merch, you can design fucking videos for the merch, you can build more companies off of it, you can go on tour and fucking sell out shows and make the most inspirational, like, I just think I'm gonna create the fucking greatest tour videos and like artist videos of all time, and the most of all time. Like I put out videos every other day that are like, today was the one I put out today was like 15 minutes long. Okay. Super fucking like cinematic, intricate. Took me an hour to film it. You know what I mean? And it was like 15 minutes. I edited it this morning in 2 hours. And it's like, go watch it after this. And you're like, what the fuck? Dude, I filmed it in an hour and edited it in 2 hours. Oh, like, wow. And it's like insane. Like, just because like, I don't know. I just think I have a lot to offer when it comes to creating and inspiring people.
Let me say this to you. This is what I'm getting at when I'm asking this question, because I think that when we get into
these questions,
and you know, I do this.
The shit I think about all day.
Yeah, I mean, and I do this very purposeful, because I've been in that situation as an artist where I started off as an artist, and I loved what I did, and even the idea of this starting off as a bet. You know, the driving force behind it was where this can financially put me, right? And so eventually that transitioned from I love this art, and then as I started getting deeper and deeper into making songs, I realized, man, like I grew up being very similar to you. I grew up being the introvert. I wasn't really the center of attention, and this is my way of beating that insecurity of being the quiet loner. This is me fighting against that, right? Being the complete opposite of what they knew me to be in middle school, right? They know me as Dewan, not Curtis King. But I went to a middle school called Curtis Middle School, and that's where I had my biggest insecurities, physically and mentally. And when I conquered those, I became Curtis King, you know, hence the name. But I say this is that after 13, 14, 15 strong years as an artist, what I realized was that at the core of it was that I wanted, because we all have 6 needs as a human being, right? And I'll get into that in a second. But what I wanted was to feel significant. What I wanted was the love that on some level maybe that I felt like I didn't necessarily get from my pops coming up. Not that he didn't love me, but he just showed it in his own way. And then also too, because I felt like I was growing at something, right? And if you get 3 of any of these 6 needs that I'm going to share with you, they become an addiction. So it's important that you understand what you're getting into it for, because at the very base level, it's for either 6 reasons, okay? And only 2 of those are what makes you happy and fulfilled. But the first one being the need for certainty. The need for uncertainty is the second one. Significance. The next one is love. The next one is the need for growth. And another one, the last one is the need to contribute to something bigger than what you got going on. And most people, the reason why they love social media and why it becomes an addiction and they never get anywhere is because, one, it gives them uncertainty, because you don't know what's going to happen when you post up a new post. You feel like you're getting love from people because they're liking your post. And then thirdly, you feel, some level of significance because people are paying attention to your bowl of cereal. So that being said, it's important that, we understand that if we get 3 of these things, they become an addiction. But if you do not find a way to bring growth and contribution as part of that equation, whatever it is that you're doing will fizzle at some point in time. So I ask those questions because when you really dig into it, and I dig into my career as a rapper, it really became, I just didn't want to be voiceless. I was tired of being a fly on the wall. I was tired of just being, the quiet kid. What it came down to was I wanted to prove to my dad that I could do this and that I made the right decision to get into this. I wanted to make my mom proud. I wanted to pay her back for all the sacrifices that she made, as well as my dad as well, and when I really got down to the nitty gritty of it, that's when I unlocked everything. And this shit just became so much easier. It just flowed like water, like Bruce Lee says. It just became water. So those are just questions that I'm asking you, but I'm hoping that the audience, as they're listening, is realizing the significance of asking those questions, because you hit it spot on. The need to inspire people. That's a need to contribute to something bigger than you, right? The need to grow at something. You're having fun with the process. You got those 2 already, that's going to give you happiness and fulfillment. The last one probably being significance or love and affection. You get those 3, it's a wrap.
Yeah. I think I build and this is like years ago, I figured this out with like my friends and shit that were also like starting businesses and shit that fucking were like doing like whatever, e-commerce, whatever.
Right.
It's just like, we kind of figured this out together that like you have to surround your happiness with like things that you can control. You know what I mean? Like I can control for the most part like my daily schedule every day. Right. And, like I go to the gym every day, and I mean now it's like my life is fucking crazy, but like my life is not going to be like this for the rest of my life. It's just like because my mom is sick and the past 2 years have been insane. But like I surround myself with like waking up, eating breakfast, having a regular diet, fucking going to the gym, and fucking getting stuff done, and and like, you know what I mean, like being in my apartment or wherever I live, house, apartment, and just like my happiness is surrounded by like my daily schedule almost, and like all that shit that I can control. And then like for example, like I really like I came up with the 80-20 rule is what I come up with, is like 80% of the time I need to be in like my fucking controlled environment, my studio. Right. Oh, I want to leave the house randomly fucking right now to go do something. Let's do it. Like I'm going to go off in my car, play fucking music that I like. Everything is controlled by me. No one really else has a say in it. And then the 20% of the rest of the time needs to be like with other people, or, you know what I mean? Like whatever, with other people, doing random things, like communicating with other people, and just like, I don't know. That's how I feel about tours. Like if I was, cause like I know for a fact that like if I become super fucking rich and I buy all the shit that I wanted to buy, which isn't really much, and I get my fucking dream house, my studio, I get a fucking BMW, and fucking, I mean, I can get that now, but I'm going to keep my
putting
Toyota
priorities first, man. There's nothing wrong with it. I think
Toyota Corolla first,
bro. And I think that I don't know if you're familiar with Tone Jones. Tone Jones made an excellent post on his Instagram where he was like, he had a rental car and he made a beat out the rental car sounds or whatever, and then one of his audience was like, bro, stop fronting. Like it was like an older car or whatever. It was like a 2000 something, whatever. And he was the audience basically, or the commenter said, don't front, bro. That's your car. Like you're not really making money like that. And he was like he was so taken aback by it. He made it like in more of a funny response, but it was the reality of it is stop judging based upon what you visually see. Because that only gives you a fraction of what someone's business is, and I think a lot of producers have a bad habit of pocket checking, not even pocket checking, but just pocket watching, you know, and not realizing that when you want to build a massively successful business, the appearance is like they only give you what you can see, and some people are just selling you an image full time, and they don't really have that success. You are their business.
Yeah, like I never understand. I mean, that just tricks people. Like, I mean. The way Gary Vee says it is like that just tricks losers, but like
man,
that just
it's
tricks
so
people
real.
that just tricks people who just don't get it yet. It might not be a fucking loser, but they just don't understand it yet because a dude fucking holding $10,000 of cash, like you know what I mean? Someone holding fucking 10 grand up to their ear, like that's what the fuck? What does that mean?
You know what? I know you being nice about it. I tell you, I was the fucking loser. Because at some point in time, I
mean, dude, everyone
you know what I'm saying?
was, bro.
You know what I'm saying? Like I used to look at those videos. I don't know if I forget the guy's name, but he was like, "I'm walking right now on the beach. You look back there, you see that's my place. I stay there." He's like, he was like, I sell beats for a living. If you want to figure it out, you basically, get into my 10-day program. It's a free PDF download. Once you get into that, you'll learn stuff, and then as you get into it, you realize, okay, this is I'm in a funnel. I didn't know what a funnel was at the time, but this is like really before ClickFunnels, and you start realizing that sometimes it's not a matter of what you see. You got to look back almost like from what I like to call the snow globe view. Like when you have a snow globe in your hand, you feel like you're holding the whole world inside your hand. Yeah. I have a New York snow globe, right? And I love looking at it because it gives me an idea of there's the reality that is right in front of us, and then there's a reality that's looking at what we're looking at. And you got to try to find how to be outside the snow globe. So when I look at that, I'm like, why would somebody feel the need to press this issue and press this imagery in front of me? Okay, to build some significance because I don't know who the hell they are, and to draw some sort of a love or some kind of response from me, and they obviously need me for something. If you're living that life, chances are the people who are really making money, we don't ever hear about them. Like the people in the industry who are really making money, bro, like you know it because you've been in there. You know what it's like. The folks that are really making paper on tour, you never get to hear the name. The audio engineer guy, they're the ones that nobody shouts out, yo, shout out to the audio engineer. Nobody ever says that, but those are the ones who, are the person that owns the booking company, the person that owns the actual venue that never comes to the venue. Not even the promoter. Like the promoter is, is sort of lower tier when it comes to the totem pole of getting paid. But that's what I'm saying is that we sometimes only see on that level, and I was me, bro. I was the dumbass kid, the one I was like so gullible and like, oh, I'll join your program. Oh, I don't have $10,000, but let me see if I can ask somebody, or I don't know if I can't do it. But then eventually you realize, like when I met a lot of these dudes that I used to look up to, I realized like, damn, this shit is all for show. It's all for show.
Yeah, I think that was really good too for me to meet. You probably feel the same way, like. Through Cam, I was able to. Do you know Cam Meekins? You ever heard of him?
The name sounds very familiar, but
yeah. He like popped off in like the frat rap scene like a while ago. He's still like is doing making a lot of moves and stuff. Like I was able to meet like G-Eazy and just like I don't know, just like a bunch of fucking cool people that either I used to look up to or fucking still did at the time. I mean, G-Eazy's fucking popping now, but like,
right.
It was like right before that. It was right before the Me, Myself, and I song came out. So like, he was doing these huge venues still, like 2,000 people.
Right.
But like, so we were literally going to every show from the time right before he popped off to like as he was popping off. And it went from the first show we went to, yo, what's up? Like, first time meeting him. I was a fan anyways. Like, first time meeting him, we were in that fucking after party, went back to the hotel room. Fucking, I don't know. It was just like we were there the whole time. The second show, backstage, dapped him up for a second. Oh, what's up?
Right.
Went to the after party. And he kind of just like let us, like, our names were on the list. He kind of had to come to the fucking front and let me and fucking Cam in, and
That's
fucking
dope.
let us in and shit. And then the next one, we got into the show, weren't really backstage, kind of like the VIP area, just because he was getting too big. But anyways, like, I think it was valuable for me to like meet people like that and see what goes on, because it's just like, oh shit, like, it's just regular ass people, and you can see the behind the scenes of Cam, like, meeting people high up at labels, and
Man,
I don't know, you see what's going on, and you see like the
you gotta
real
have that.
shit, and like how people really are, and like who's actually doing it, and then when you start building it for yourself, you start to really understand like everything.
Man, I've had, you hit it spot on. Is that you need those experiences to take these people off of pedestals, and to also, you're able to see it like these people, like the celebrity that you know that people are lusting over. She stinks. She takes poops, right? She grimaces her face just like anybody else, right? You are so in love with her when she's all made up, but there's times where she wake up and she got, not times, every morning she wakes up with you know what I mean, her breath stinks, and I think that's the other side of it, where you meet somebody, you might have shook, I'm not saying it's a situation, but you shook Jeezy's hand and found out his hand was clammy, and all of a sudden what we see that is all made up and photoshopped in front of our eyes, because that's part of somebody else's visual business, it starts to like, oh, this guy's actually really regular, like he's really cool. You need those moments. Even like I had moments where I met, and I'll spare you the details of the name, but it was pretty significant rapper that I finally met, and it was an enormous disappointment, and it was like, I wish I never met. He was one of my favorite rappers growing up in high school.
No, I feel that. I've had a couple of those that were not like huge rappers, but like
huge enough to
like
where it's significant to you.
Right? People I knew and shit, and like doing big shows.
Man, I met one, and he was just like so negative and so hateful. Not even hateful, but just so like everything was like just it was everything he was just annoyed by, and he could have been just having a bad day. But I had to look at it, and I said, if this wasn't the person that I looked up to, I would leave this room. I was like, do I really want to leave right now? I was like, I think I want to leave. This is corny. And you meet these folks, and it's like it takes the veil, and you start realizing that the same 24 hours they have, no matter how cliche it is, you have the same 24 hours, and you got to be able to jump up and do it.
It's the best thing on earth once you get to the point where you're with a certain, because like usually you're with Jeezy, oh, we're doing whatever this dude does the whole night.
Right.
But it's good when you get to the point where you're like, you know what? I've done this before. Why am I going to this fucking random after party that I don't want to go to because this person's there? And like, I'm not getting drunk and waking up the next day and fucking, I don't know. But what do you think? What do you think is your what do you think is your like goal? You know what I mean? Like, what's your end goal? Not end goal, but like, what do you think is the big thing you're working towards right now? Is it just like building out? Because me personally, it's like, yeah, I want to be an artist, but like at the same time, the real craft behind it is like building a business. You know what I mean? I have such a passion for like building a business. I do all my own website shit, and like, I love just having a business. I'm starting like a couple lines of clothing and shit like that, and like putting on music and just like videos. And what do you think is like the next big picture thing you're working towards?
Well, grand scheme of things, generational wealth, right? Generational wealth, and that of course should be centered around music, but I'm not limiting myself to that. Many people know, like, for a good part of my adulthood, I've been kind of straddling the fence between vegetarian and pescatarian. So one of my goals is to open up a vegetarian restaurant, a 24-hour vegetarian restaurant. So there's a lot of things that I want to do with that, but big picture is generational wealth. I want to plant so many seeds that money never becomes a topic of conversation in terms of, being associated with worry. Like, I'd never concern myself. Even now, like, I don't worry about it. It's something that obviously is a focus of mine along what I'm doing, but I want to build generational wealth, and that's just not income, generational wealth and wisdom. I want my son to carry this torch in whatever way that he sees fit. If he has to be the most motivational bowler in the world, by all means. You know what I mean? Do that, or gamer, whatever he wants to become when he's older. He's 9 months
Gamers
now.
Gamers are fucking rich now.
You feel me? Like me and my wife
Gamers
is
are
looking,
richer than producers.
Man, my wife and I are looking, and that's a fact. Me and my wife are looking at our son like, man, I seen a little kid made like $22 million dollars in doing toy reviews on YouTube. I'm looking at my son like, boy, dude, you better get.
That's a whole nother fucking thing as well.
But no,
that shit is ridiculous.
But honestly, like, big picture is generational wealth and wisdom, and financially, and I know that that's going to be. I'm going to have to set the pace for that, and I may not. I mean, I know I'm not going to see what that ultimately becomes, right? Like, I want to start it off to where my son comes in with so much wisdom on from a personal and a mental aspect. I want him to be so much stronger than I was. And so what that's going to require me to do is to be constantly growing. What that's going to require me to do is to constantly make myself uncomfortable. And I think that thinking more small scale, this year, my main focus content-wise is going to be about centering in on mental health. The thing that I am sick and tired of is somebody passes away. Everybody does the dance, the song and dance. Somebody passes away from something that deals with mental health. They say we need to have a conversation about mental health, right? Everybody echoes this. They retweet it. They go crazy over that, and then it happens again because people forget. We got to get away. We have to get deeper than the fucking conversation, have the conversation. We got to lay this shit out and really dig into our own insecurities and problems and make some uncomfortable conversations happen so we can actually start getting some results for that. So my focus now that I have this audience, people will be like, well, man, this is the time that you got to go do more clickbait, or you got to do, stuff that's like really hype. This is the time that I need to get people results in their lives and make it beyond just music production. If I can tell somebody like, here's the tools in order to build up your self-esteem to where it's indestructible, right? Here's the ways that you're able to take failure so that you get excited when failure happens. You don't become depressed and want to do something to yourself. Like, this is what I want to dig deeper into. And obviously people are going to hear a lot of, echoes of the people that I look up to, like the Tony Robbins, who really focus on, mental durability and emotional strength and IQ. I want to do that for music producers, and that's all going. That's and I shouldn't say smaller scale because that's a tall task, but that's ultimately where I want to. Not ultimately, that's where I want to get to right now, as well as the the escapism and the entertainment. Obviously, if I'm not making fire beats, they're not gonna listen to me.
You're right. But I was gonna say, I think that's like something that I always think about too. Is like, I feel like it's kind of up to the people right now with the fucking platform as producers,
right,
to kind of break into those things. Like, I feel the same way. Like, just you're trying to create more value for a music producer in your way, and I feel like I'm kind of doing it a little bit in my way too, with like making a business and generational wealth, but like on a smaller scale, kind of just like breaking into the fucking vlog scene. What producer has a fucking vlog?
Man,
what
do it, please,
maker,
bro.
Has a daily vlog, and it will bring so much value because the next fucking person that does it, it's gonna make that much more sense. A gamer, like those FaZe kids, started off as fucking playing video games, and they're nice at Halo or whatever game they played. Now they're fucking vloggers driving around fucking Lamborghinis and have investors that tell them to fucking do more crazy shit in their vlogs. Like, they don't even play video games anymore. And like, I don't know. I just like,
bro,
that's something that I'm trying to
please
do as well.
do it. Cause I don't know about you, but I'm sick.
Yeah, because you vlog too, right? You have some vlogs too. I watched your house tour vlog before we did this.
Oh man, yeah. The unofficial.
Watch
vlog.
some of it. It's a pretty long video.
Yeah. It's I'm thankful that somebody can say that my house tour was a long video. That right there makes me feel really good. I know that probably sounds like conceited to somebody.
You gotta tweet that, dude.
That shit feels good to hear. Like to hear that, because if you looked at my apartment, like literally, I did a video about.
Yeah, I saw you.
You saw that?
Yeah,
the apartment.
No, well, I saw you were talking about it in that in the house tour video, because you're like, all right, this is like these 2 rooms right here are like the size of my old apartment.
No, check it out. I got.
And I've seen videos in your old apartment. I've seen those ones too.
Well, obviously. I did a full tour with no furniture, and it was 1 minute. It was an Instagram clip, right? It's an Instagram length clip. That's how small it was. To hear that, I appreciate that. I appreciate it, because I'm like, man, that it was that long to do that. But aside from that, bro, like, I don't think people realize how fucking sick and tired I am of saying rappers and producers. I've said rappers and producers probably a gajillion times in the last year. I'm sick of it. And it's crazy because whenever I branch out, or I've tried to branch out, and this is me being like really transparent, like I've done videos like what Kyle Kuzma can teach you about the championship mentality, and how he's studying all the people that he's been around, from Kobe Bryant to LeBron James, and how I did like the vegan music producer. That stuff underperforms. That stuff does not perform as well as the 808 tutorials.
I've seen I don't know if it was the exact one called Vegan Music Producer, but I've seen the one where it was the one. Fuck, you were eating. It was like I think I commented on it too. Yeah, it was like a vlog, and it was like talking about vegan. I think you mentioned like vegan restaurant, and like you were going vegan. It was in your apartment. It was a vlog, and it was like honestly like it was pretty like. I know how to fucking make 808s. You know what I mean? So like that video of yours was like something that I was like, oh, this is sick. But this is what I always say this, right? My favorite fucking like Kendrick Lamar song, my favorite G-Eazy song, my favorite Eminem song is a song that when you look it up does not have a lot of views compared to their other shit. That's real. It's like that's why I'm a psycho. Like that's why I love Kendrick Lamar. It's not for fucking. What's that Humble? What's that fucking song he put out? Yeah, Humble. Fucking. It's not for any of that shit. It's for like the art of peer pressure. You know what I mean? And like just like and like other random songs.
Or even like Kendrick Lamar has
Section
a song
80,
called
all the
Kendrick
shit on
Lamar.
Section 80.
Bro, he has a song called Kendrick Lamar over an Erykah Badu sample produced by Soundwave. Try to go find that song. It is in the
I remember I used to listen to like some of his like really like when he first started coming on like with the Money Trees.
Yeah.
When he first started coming on with Money Trees. Yeah. Like right when that was like coming out, I started looking up all his old shit.
Man.
And like I couldn't really find it anymore, but it was like amazing. And like I like G-Eazy for the song. My favorite song is called The Day It All Changed. Nobody fucking knows that song. You know what I mean? Right. It's just like So I always think about that when I put out a video that's like I put out a video of me fucking designing my dream studio in the fucking Sims 4.
Right. Oh, you're talking about in a sim. But see, let me ask you this then. So you being somebody that obviously has found, much success on YouTube yourself, what do you feel is the value of those videos that underperform? Because, you and I both know, when a video underperforms, it has an effect on the future content that you put out, right? Whether it's the YouTube algorithm, and some people maybe they know it, maybe they don't know. How do you sort of weigh the importance of these videos?
Well, I think obviously, if it underperforms and it's not a good video, then like fuck it. But if it's a good video and like it underperforms just because of the nature of the majority of your people watching are looking for music stuff,
right?
And like, I don't know, like when people like, dude, you're gonna get. I mean, you have a podcast and you do a lot of like talking stuff, and you're pretty personal with your audience in general. Right. But like when I started this podcast, like, dude, the messages went from like 3-sentence messages to like I have to fucking scroll 4 times to read the thing because I'm like because I'm talking for this podcast is over an hour and a half long now.
Right.
You know what I mean? So like it just gives them like I was out in the field juggling a soccer ball. There's a kid that also likes music in fucking France that's like, oh dude, I didn't know you played. Oh, they don't call it soccer, but I know you played
Football,
soccer.
right?
Yeah, blah 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 blah. Like, and then they connect that way, and then it's like, oh, you do this, let's do. Like I met up with a kid in real life who his dad was like going on a business trip, and he flew to Boston just to meet me, and we played soccer together.
Oh wow.
And that was like the thing we had in common. And now like fucking I see him all the time on fucking social media, and like
it has a value.
I think it lets people connect to you in different ways rather than just that thing that they know you for.
Right, because I try to look at it from and that was a great answer with that too. Because I try to look at it from the perspective of, we are here to entertain and to grow our businesses, but then there are things that may not look like value on the surface, but those things end up making somebody a diehard fan of the brand. And I started looking at like, man, like I want to do more of these vegan vlogs, but then I'm like, you know what? The amount of time that it took me to do it and my goal are not in alignment right now. Right? I got to get this in alignment now. It don't matter what I do in this house. People are excited to see in a new space. They're like, oh man, so I got to take advantage of this time. And I just been, man, I feel that 1,000% because now I'm cooking and I know what content. I have a pretty good idea. I don't know how long you've been on YouTube, but I have a pretty good idea ahead of time what content is going to be a little bit more lit than usual. Like I know, I already know what's like deep into the trenches of my niche. Like I know which ones are going to go. And which ones are not. But yeah, it's a beautiful juggle.
Like, I think the mistake a lot of people make is they are a certain, like, I don't know. I'm just like trying not to fucking, I don't even know. Fucking right. Like people do a certain thing. Say I was a music producer, right? And I just fucking loved. All right, let's just say me, right? Say I love soccer and I just wanted to start including it a lot more. Even the vlogs.
Right.
I didn't just start vlogging every day because I knew it wouldn't work as well as if I did what kind of already was working, which was the beat making thing. So I included the beat making shit. I did the stuff that I saw people were doing, kind of like Pat Ryan was filming himself, but I was vlogging and I was also doing cinematic shit that people were familiar with, obviously, right. But like nobody was doing it. And like, dude, now I can. One of my most popular videos is called "How I Made a Living Selling Beats in 4 months," and
I remember that
was
video.
off Instagram.
Yeah,
and it has like, I don't know, 120, 130 something thousand views, I think now.
Right.
And I didn't fucking make a beat. I didn't do anything in that video. I went and played soccer that video.
Well,
and I brought my fucking camera down and just talked about it for a second.
At least that's one of your most popular videos. Go type in the most popular video for Curtis King and see what
kind of. I already looked.
Oh man, you already know what it is.
Before we did this,
the infamous. I am like known as the most. I guess in the world of folks that pirate, like I am like the biggest snitch in the history of pirating, especially dude, FL Studio.
Yeah, but dude, like that's just the way you're saving people. Like imagine a producer saw that and is going to be a successful producer. Like you might have saved, because dude, that's the way the world is going. Like companies are not stupid. They're going to figure out like I forget who I was telling this to, but I bought like a video overlay on like one of those websites, and like they let you buy like an exclusive license for a little extra money,
right? If
you want to make profit off of it. And I was using it for like advertisement, just like a product page video for one of my kits, and or my beats too, actually, for my beats. And I was kind of selling. I was like, I'm selling on YouTube, but like whatever. I bought the fucking exclusive license because I was that afraid of like them detecting it. Because like that's a little anxiety fucking kicking in right there. But like the way the world is going, like these big companies, you're not going to be able to like do that shit. They're going to catch you, and like it's just like you saved a lot of people fucking like what is like $200 when you're starting to make beats is a lot to buy FL Studio. But like now thinking about where I am now and where you could possibly be. If you're a fucking millionaire, $200 is fucking something you throw in the trash. Like,
look, bro, I'll tell you this, and this is going to be another video eventually this year. I did the math for my income 6 months before I made that video and 6 months after, and ridiculous the growth that occurred. It wasn't subtle. I knew, like, you know how like when you start seeing notifications pop up and you're like, damn, this has been a good week. Right, you kind of just ballparking it, right? You might be seeing it, and you're like, you don't know the exact number, but you're like, shit, I'm cooking. Like, you're like, oh, yeah, you're not looking at your analytics, you're not looking at your, your monthly statement on PayPal, but you're like, I'm cooking right now. When you have that feeling, like I had that for 6 months, and what it wasn't immediate, but what I can tell you is this. The moment that, for folks who don't know, I made a video where basically FL or Image Line reached out to me. They said that they saw a bunch of tutorials, and I was selling a tutorial that had pirated FL Studio, right? Like a lot of producers out here. And they approached me. They were very nice about it, and they say, look, you're going to have to take that course down, or we're going to sue you, right? And I say nice because they're probably used to a lot of producers giving them pushback, right? Like, I ain't got to pay you. I'm giving you free promotion. That's the argument. I came from the place of, you know what? I'm an asshole. How dare I use this program for as much as I've been using it, have the success I have, be teaching others how to use it, and never pay for the damn thing. And it didn't dawn on me that no matter how much money Image Line has made as a company, it didn't dawn on me that, the same way I'm sitting up here hustling these beats to create some financial freedom for myself and to be paid for the work that I put in, there are a team of software coders that are hoping for the same, right? And it took that experience before I saw it from the other perspective. And I'm like, you know what? As producers, I'm gonna speak for myself. I was being so fucking hypocritical. Like, how dare I say, like, oh, these rappers are stealing my beats off of my page? And it's like, fool, the program you made the beats got you stole. So where do we draw the line, right? And people were making all. Here's the thing that got me. I made a video where basically I was like, look, be careful out here. Do not pirate. I almost got sued. Thankfully, like, they didn't do it. They didn't make me make this video. I volunteered because I wanted to save a lot of people from going down this route. And it's the right thing to do from a karma standpoint. I had no idea the next 6 months of my career would be the most financially abundant, but that's what it became. Right. So now people are going to.
That's so crazy to think about that.
Now look at this. Look at how this plays out, right? Because I've built a relationship with them. They sent me the Akai Fire for free, and it's hard to believe I've been able to give away a free FL Studio. To be like one of the most known FL Studio pirating producers, it's not like the most beautiful thing, but it became the most beautiful thing. So seeing that now, a producer's going to look at that and say, what was his life before he made that video? Damn, he's in a 5-bedroom house. Damn, like, oh, wow. Like, look at his life after that. And they start seeing like the studio and all that. People are watching us, right? You and I make videos sometimes like kind of in a vacuum, but people are watching us, bro. They're watching us and we're having a really tremendous effect on their lives. Sometimes more than we probably should have, but we do, and I know a kid is looking at that and saying, I need to correct my karma before I do more bad things, right? Why am I struggling so much? Even like a producer more my age, why am I struggling so much? Maybe because I'm not paying for the very thing that I'm looking to make money from. And so that small concept turned into a bit of a movement now, that the whole Go Legit, hashtag Go Legit. And I'm seeing so many producers that are coming to me saying like, look, I bought my first copy of FL Studio because of you. That shit is fire to me. That to me means more than any comment on my YouTube.
Just buy it.
Just buy it, man. But see, look at your success, man. You're proof of it. You are living proof of it, so.
Fucking free updates, everything.
And then not having, like, knowing that you could hit somebody in customer service if something don't go right, that's beautiful. You want to be able to do that. And then also, too, like you said, free updates for life. And it took me going down. I actually went to one of their, one of the companies that works with Image Line. It's pretty much the Image Line family. But I went down and talked to them. It's a city in California called Inglewood, and I went to go talk to them, and they gave me the perspective. They said nobody talks about the people who code this software. They spend hours and hours and hours on hand doing it. Right? We're not the cool guys. The producers are the cool guys using this software. He said, let me give you a scenario. He said, I'm not gonna disclose a name, but there's a coder, software coder, who basically was sitting there designing this. He was coding all day, all night. His wife had a job where she's making about $50,000 a month, but she was holding down all the bills to support him as he put together this VST. Right. And he's working on it. He's putting it together. He's designing it. And he keeps telling her, look, I'm not working a regular 9 to 5 because this is going to be something. This is going, like, you believe in me. You believe in me. Let me work. And as he's doing this, he puts it together. Then finally he presents it to his investors and they put it out. He says he wakes up the next morning and there's more YouTube videos about the software than there are actual sales.
Yeah.
Which they figured out was because people had pirated that fast. Right? Somebody probably got a version of it that was like not for resale, and then just started distributing it. And so this person ends up spending all these hours and time on something that gets stolen. And I said, who does that sound like? Sounds like producers. Spend all this time making beats only to have them stolen like that off of a SoundCloud. We have a lot more in common with the people behind the scenes than we even know. So not to make the whole thing about that, but I tell you that getting that right changed everything. And that's not even a dramatic thing.
I was always super good about like just keeping that type of shit in mind with like pirating and like all that stuff. I was always super good about like when I did sell a beat, like if I sold a manual beat and someone bought like the fucking unlimited rights, the beat still stayed on my site. If someone bought the wave, they still stay on my site. Trackouts is 100, still stays on my site. If they buy that manually because I gave them a discount, or they just like, I don't know, they just didn't use the store and I just like sent them an invoice because I just was whatever. Like I would always send like the splits to anyone I collabed with. You know what I mean?
Right.
Even though like this person is probably never going to find out about it. You know what I mean? Like they went through you. I always fucking hit them up with the splits. And like even at the times where you're like not really like making as much money as like when I was selling beats like super hard, I wasn't fucking doing like the YouTube shit. So it was income was like a hustle. So it was tough when I had to send away $100, or an exclusive was like $400, $500 to like split it in half. So it's like fuck, man, $1,000 just went to 500.
Yeah, bruh. Yeah.
Just for like that karma. Like I don't know.
It's good, man, because the thing is, when you do what you're doing, not just your audience is watching. That's when you get approached by these companies. And I thought this was going to be brands, like this is like brand. I thought it was going to be bad for my brand when it came to associating with companies. But the truth of the matter was, there weren't a whole lot of companies reaching out. I think it showed
transparency too.
Yeah, like, and then they saw that I value what they do. Sure, they showed that I value the other people and not just myself. I think a lot of producers, the nature of what we're doing, and even the nature of YouTube in social media is all focused on me, and that's part of the success, right? Is being able to be transparent and tell your story. But I think that when you're able to turn the lens off of yourself, when you're able to use less of I language and more we language, these companies are looking, and I'm telling you, that's when a lot of my affiliates reached out to me. That's when DistroKid, I built that relationship up. That they found me because of the FL Studio pirating video. It's nuts how it all came together, but it came together.
Yeah, I think it's good too when it comes to like what you were saying, like people, you're getting mad, people stealing beats or whatever. I think when it comes to that stuff too, there's a lot of that type of shit that goes on in the music industry, either chasing people down for money or oh, someone used my beat and this and that and the other. Like this is why I sold beats. This is why I fucking don't really send out a lot of shit to artists. This is why I want to create my own brand, is because I don't want to deal with any of that stuff, and I just want to stay in the attack. You know what I mean? Like there's people that have used my beats. You know what I mean? There's people that have used my beats and not bought them, but like the time you waste trying to hunt those people down and trying to make them pay money and whatever is time that you wasted that you could have made another fucking $500 or what, you know what I'm saying?
Facts.
Like all that time that you wasted. And that's something that people do too much, is like dwell on like, oh, this person took my beat, they still owe me this much money. And like, I don't know. It's just like you got to stay in the attacking mode, and too when it comes to like bills, like when my student loans started kicking in, like I wanted to cave and like, all right, fucking, I'm gonna stop eating,
right? Whatever it requires, right?
At that time, like that's where I was at. But like in general, people tend to do that. Like, oh shit, fucking, I owe an extra whatever. fucking turn the lights off. Don't turn the lights on in the house. Only use this light.
Man.
Fucking, you know what I mean? Like, only use one piece of fucking toilet paper. Every time a scenario like that has happened in my life, I turned it from defense to fucking attack, and I think that everyone needs to fucking do that. Man. It's like, instead of worrying about fucking turning the lights off, how about I make an extra fucking $100 this month? Man, and fucking have every light on in the house.
You have no idea how I mean, you probably do know the weight of bars that you just dropped right now. Yeah, you need to be rapping. The amount of bars you just gave right now.
Dude, I'll send you something out of this.
Please do. But what you just said right now holds so much weight, and it's something that I'm reminding myself of this year, or that I have already, is that I have not set the bar high enough, right? Like, my thing was, when I thought about the amount of rent that I'm paying here, for a minute it had me a little bit uneasy.
Let's keep the lights off.
Right. It had me. Well, I was still in an apartment at that time. I was like, man, can I really? Is this something that's going to?
No, I feel you.
Be unwise, because I'm only renting, right? I was like, is this unwise? But I tell you this, it makes you set the bar higher. When you look at your girl, your significant other, or your wife, like my wife and my son, and I see how much they enjoy this space. It's not pressure. It's game fucking on. We have to go. Like, there is no other choice. I love this. This place is a castle for me, right? For somebody, they may be like, that ain't that big. If you really, I don't care. This is 3,000 square feet of heaven for me right now. And I have to make sure that I do whatever it is that is a necessity to not only maintain it, but thrive in this environment. And I came up with a number, and I said, this is how much money I need to make in order for this to be easy. And I was like, that's a pretty low figure for what I know that I'm capable of doing, right? And I started doing the math, and I'm a big fan of Grant Cardone's 10X rule. I times it times 10, and I said I'm going to put in the work and go after this new figure. And that figure scares me. That figure makes me nervous, but it excites the hell out of me, because I know that it's possible. And I know that if I work as hard as it requires to get to that number, I'll fully surpass the other number. So that's where I'm at with it.
What is the rule? Times 10 from the amount of money you have to make, or from the amount of money that?
So if you tell yourself I'm gonna make $1,000 a month, right? Somebody who's like a producer coming up saying I make $1,000 a month, instead of saying $1,000 a month is your goal, and instead of going after that and only making 700 and 800 because you put in just enough work to get right below that and being disappointed and feeling like a failure, go after $10,000. And the work that you're going to have to put in, the amount of creativity that you're going to have to come up with, because the first question is, well, that sounds easy for you, Curtis, but I don't have a business. Well, guess what? Now you're going to have to ask more challenging questions, right? How do I make $100 a day? What do I have that is worth this amount? How many people would I have to talk to on Instagram? Like you were talking about earlier, Carl, like how many people do you have to talk on Instagram in order to make that happen?
A lot of people.
You know what I'm saying?
A lot of fucking people.
But that's what I'm saying, though, that somebody's listening to your story and saying, all right, game on. Like David Goggins said,
people send me messages every day saying like they sent me they sold their first beat.
Because of what you told them to do, man.
Yeah, from Instagram.
Bro, like David Goggins always says, he's in front of the military. He's like, Roger that. That's my new shit this year. Roger that. Okay, we got to make this amount this month. Roger that. I don't care how ridiculous it sounds, because it only sounds ridiculous to people who are not playing at that level. It only sounds ridiculous to them. To people who are like, have never seen that amount of money in their life, it only sounds ridiculous to them. But you get around people who have set the bar higher, and it's not even about setting the bar higher. That's their way of life. That's their default. You'll naturally elevate your game. And I think it's
like a video game, man. I always like relate things to video games, but it's like a video game. You start off with fucking any video game, GTA, fucking golf, whatever on golf,
Tiger Woods golf
phone. Right. Yeah, you start off with like no money, and you're playing these small little games, tournaments, whatever. You're doing these small little things, and you're like 100 fucking coins is like ridiculous at the time. Yeah. And then all of a sudden you're playing the game for a couple of weeks. This is like when you're a kid and you're playing the game the whole time. Like you're playing the game for a couple of weeks, and all of a sudden you're fucking buying things for like 100,000 coins, and like you got 46 million coins in your fucking bank. and it's like nothing. You know what I mean? And then you're like, oh shit! Remember when we like couldn't buy this little shitty ass thing? It's just all perspective and like
the bar set higher, man. And I pray, man. I pray that producers look at your channel. They look at the work that you're doing. They see. Here's the thing about it. When I look at your channel and I look at the amount of videos that you have there, none of this is by mistake. Right? There may have been some luck that you see from your perspective, like, damn, I'm glad that took off because this wasn't a guarantee, but you put the work in. And I hope that producers are seeing the work that you put in, the work that I put in, the work that these folks like BusyWorks Beats put in, and realize that success was not an optional thing. This had to happen. Amount of time you spend making videos and amount of time you spend editing. And then on top of that, you have the nerve to still have a career and get sleep, right? And have a family life and still, you know, like, and the fact, like, you don't have no idea how much more respect I have. I already had a higher level of respect for you, but knowing now too, like, how much you're there for your mom, like, that's a soft spot for me because of how much I love my mom.
I kind of like low key. I'm not going to do this because, like, this is weird. But
yeah.
It's just, like, not what I would do. But, like, if someone was following me around with a camera all day, they'd be like, dog, what the fuck? How the fuck are you pulling this off right now? Like, it's just, I've just lived in, like, I'm putting out videos every other day, intricate fucking videos, vlogs, running a fucking business, doing all this shit.
Right.
And at the same time, fucking the past couple of years, it's a lot easier now that we have moved into this better house,
right?
For random reasons, but like, because now I'm kind of in control of this environment a little bit more. But like, yeah, it was fucking. There could have been a movie on it easily. I mean, there still could be the movie's still going. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. You still
like,
adding chapters.
She broke her leg, like. She fucking, I'm a fucking nurse now. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I could be a full-time nurse now.
and that, I hope that makes the person that is looking at you and they have these shallow, you know, feelings towards you, like, oh, I gotta knock him off. Like, I gotta go for his throne. I hope that makes you feel like the asshole you are, because when you look at this,
I don't
like,
think any of those people are listening.
I mean, but you know they are. You know they are. They can't. They love. They're the biggest fans. They're the biggest ones. They won't say they are, but those are the ones that are most critical of your work. And if your stuff slips and I know they're on my head, and you know what? I've learned to appreciate them for the assholes they are. I appreciate them because they keep me on top of my game, and I literally will change my shirt because I know that one of them is getting ready to say something crazy. But you know what? Let me present my best self at all times. But those folks don't realize that the reason why they can never be better than you is because their whys are different from your whys. Their why is to be, you know, because they look up to you so much, they want to outdo you and show themselves that they can be better than you. Your why is a lot more leveled in something completely different. Like, they have no idea what makes up your life aside from your business, and you still made it fucking happen, bro. Like, it's an inspiration, and I think when people realize all the excuses they make for themselves, that doesn't fucking matter.
Dude, it blows. I have such a crazy because I was always critical of myself, like getting things done and whatever.
Right.
But now it's like ridiculous. Like when I see someone fucking like just kind of hanging out and like watching TV, even for 10 minutes.
Right.
Like, dude. Can we fucking, you know what I'm saying? Like, let's go. Like,
let's do something.
It's time to fucking go. We gotta be doing something. Like, I was already kind of that way, and now it's just like ridiculous. Like, bro, I started editing my video this morning at noon. And like before that, woke up at fucking 8. My sister did the meds this morning, and go downstairs. My sister usually does stuff in the morning. My mom's sleeping, watch my mom, whatever.
Right.
Fucking. I had from noon till 2:30. My sister leaves for work at 2:30. 2:30, it's over. I had 2.5 hours to edit the whole video.
Wow.
Not to mention, I edited the whole video, recorded an Instagram video, edited that, and showered before she left.
Bro, it's that. But see that what by any means.
And then went down and took care of her the rest of the night. And like, fucking, now I'm here doing a podcast, a half an hour. Dog, I have my bowl fucking what I ate for dinner. I was cooking while taking care of her.
Right.
Brought the bowl upstairs, crushed it 15 minutes, recording the podcast at 9:30. Now it's midnight, waking up again the next morning to do it all over again.
And no matter what you're doing, you're always operating at an optimal level, bro. And I think that, you know.
And I procrastinate.
Yeah, I mean, well, we all do. I think that's that's probably the biggest challenge that a lot of producers that are going to become that will one day do this for a living, they don't realize that the biggest obstacle is not, what do I do when this happens to my business? The biggest obstacle is, fuck, I have more free time than I've ever had in my life. Like shit, what am I going to do today? Right? I've done a gazillion videos. I've made a bunch of beats. What am I going to do today? I can do whatever I want with my day. Right? And they don't realize that the sacrifices that you make throughout the years, like they're not about, you don't do this for any awards or any kind of like pat on the back. You do this because it's a necessity to get it done. And for me, like when I say like I didn't have a television for many years. Like I wasn't watching TV. I didn't have cable myself. Like in my office, I never have cable in there because it's like I'm here to work. I'm here to work. Even when I was making beats in San Bernardino in one of the biggest like murder capitals of the Inland Empire, when I was living out in this 1-bedroom apartment with 3 adults, and I'm sitting here in a cubby hole making beats, and literally I called my laptop Frankenstein because it didn't have a neck. Like the damn thing would swivel and fall off to the floor if I didn't hold it up with a book. And I'm sitting here in my headphones, grinding away, making these beats, and literally not knowing when I'm going to get my next beat sale or get any money, and I can't afford toilet paper. And I'm sitting up here having to, not to be too graphic, but wiping my ass with notebook paper. And anybody who's ever done that, you know how much that hurts. And having
you take a shower every time you take a shit.
Oh man, yeah, I couldn't.
I've done that before.
You know what? That was a level that no matter how bad it got, I feel you. No matter how bad it get, I just couldn't do it. And my homie who was living with me could do it, and I was like, it's something about the water and the shit crumbs hitting your ankle into the floor. It just bothered me. But anyways, not to get too crazy in that, but I'm just giving people a glimpse of it, like, being able to go and make $15 from a beat that I probably should have sold for hundreds and hundreds of dollars more just to go get like a value box from Del Taco and split it between 3 homies. And now we got bean and cheese burritos for the next 2 days and diarrhea, because that's not good for you to do that. But these are the things.
The move was buying groceries, dude. That's the fucking move.
Man.
Trader Joe's in Florida, they had $1 for a dozen eggs.
Oh man.
I used to spend $20 a week on groceries. $1 fucking dozen eggs and a couple things of chicken. Just plain chicken and eggs. That's all I'd eat.
I wish we had a liquor store next door because I didn't have a car at the time. My car got repoed, and we had to walk across the street to this liquor store. And it was one of the liquor stores where, like, they sold milk, but they weren't supposed to be selling milk. Like, that's not what you're there for. They're called a liquor store, right? It's not a convenience store. It's a liquor store. And we went in there, and they had milk. I'll never forget it. My boy, he's like he's used to the trenches. Like I was used to it a bit. He's a little bit too much more used to it. He took a sip of it, and I could literally smell like the molded smell from the container. And then he was like, not that bad. I'm like, we got to do better than this shit. I can't do this. I don't want to. I remember like one more story from going into the liquor store. I got my first placement with Mac 10 and Glasses Malone, and it was in a XXL where my name got mentioned.
Glasses Malone,
right? Glasses Malone, right? So I got my first placement, got my first little check or whatever. I couldn't even enjoy that check because the first month that I got it, they spelled my name wrong, and by the time I got the correction, my mother and I and sisters got evicted from our apartment. That's when I moved to San Bernardino. But literally, that money, the majority of the money went to a PR that I tried to pay for. That is a whole story. But aside from that, I didn't really enjoy the money like I wanted to. I remember being so broke when that song came out, that album came out, that I went to the liquor store, found the XXL magazine. I'll never forget it. Opened it up to the end of the pages where they used to give like the 5 mics and a source. And it's a Source magazine, I'm sorry. And I took a picture of it with my flip phone. And then the liquor store guy looked at me like, why are you taking a picture of it? And I was like, man, that's my name. He's like, you're not Curtis King. He's like, if you're Curtis King, like, you wouldn't be taking a picture, you'd be buying this. And like my homie was like, you know what, I'm gonna just buy this for you because I'm not gonna let him like disrespect you like that. And so literally I couldn't afford the magazine my name was in. Understanding and still having my feet very close to that mud that it was in, it humbles me. And it also makes me very grateful for where things are at. And people think like, oh man, who do you compete with? Who are you? I'm not checking for nobody. I'm not competing with nobody. I'm literally trying to be a better version of myself than I was before, because I know where I came from. And it's when you take a moment to reflect, and I'm sure that you have your moments in between the grind, you look up and you're like, shit, I really did that. Like, I really did that.
Yeah. What do you think kept you going? Because like you were saying earlier, like I've seen people that are like I have a lot of followers. Like I follow some of them,
Right.
and like I've seen people that are like fucking 18 years old that go, that's it. I quit. I can't. I'm not. They make like an announcement that they're done making music, which
Right.
I don't understand. But like, what do you think kept you going to get to the point where you're at right now, where you have the most value, you've probably in control of your like music business life that probably you've ever had?
Right.
Like, what do you think kept you going to this point?
To keep it simple, because I don't want to get too much into where I think people think I would go with a question like this.
Yeah.
I just kept fucking going.
Dude,
even when it was the
that's
stupid.
what I say, dude.
Man.
I always say, I'll let you go in a second. I always
yeah.
say, if you're going up, I always say, if you're trying to run up a hill and get to the top of the hill, it's like, even if you're fucking pissed and you're slipping on rocks and you're fucking, everything is getting fucked up, as long as you keep going and keep running up the hill, you're going to get to the top. You're just going to be like, damn, why was I so pissed?
Man,
like, I'm here now.
Slow,
you know what I mean?
is better than stop. Slow is better than stop.
Yeah, exactly.
Bro, like, you hit it on the head. Like, if you're going up that mountain and you're the only one, like, there's a point in time in the beginning of your career where you're all gung-ho. Like, you got so much energy, you're loving this, and then you get in the industry, and the industry starts beating you down a little bit, right? And you're like, man, this shit ain't cool, but I'm not stopping. Like, that's not even a question. And then it gets to a point where life has beat you up so much, you have to question whether or not you're stopping. And when you can look yourself right in the face, beat up, bruised, your face is jacked up, you don't even recognize who you are, and you're like, I still don't plan on fucking quitting. The answer's still no. I'm going to keep going, even if you're crawling. And I think a lot of people don't get to that point because what they realize is that they wanted, going back to what we talked about before, all they wanted was for enough people to say, you're doing a good job. All they wanted was the perceived love that going to a show, even if it's like a show with 5 people, those 5 people raising their hands and doing the hip hop hands to your music, that was all you wanted. That's what you really wanted in this. It wasn't the, platinum. It was none of it. It wasn't none of that shit, bro. It was literally the like, if you think about a 5-layer bean dip, it was literally the sour cream. That's all they wanted, was a sour cream. And so a lot of folks, man, like they and there's nothing wrong with it. You'd realize what your real purpose is, but a lot of folks are in this and they're just staying by default, but they're not growing. Like Tony Robbins always says, if you're not growing, you're dying. Like, anything that's not growing is literally dying. And a lot of producers are convinced that because they spent 4 or 5 years, or they keep going, or they got 15 years, that they're growing. And I'm sure on some level you're improving, but it doesn't mean you're growing. There's a lot of people out here who are scientifically dead, from the standpoint of their career, because they're not. There's no progression in it. They're stagnant. They're staying where they're at. So I'll tell you, there is no secret to this shit, except for, even when it's idiotic, even when it's stupid, even when everybody around you that you trust is telling you that you should quit this shit, you making the decision to keep going is the most important decision that you will ever make. What kept me going? I don't know most of the time, but I leached on to, sometimes it was artificial. Sometimes it was Red Bulls, right? Sometimes it was some dumbass meme that I found on Instagram or Tumblr at the time, right? Sometimes it was just that picture that said, keep going. Or sometimes it was a meme that said something like, I didn't come this far just to come this far. That's all I needed, right? And so you got to figure out what it is for yourself that kind of gets you going. And sometimes it's a combination of artificial and the real deal and the natural. And for me, man, it's not no major secret to it. I watched so many people around me that were popping, that had this shit going on, that just, remember 50 Cent said, damn, homie, in high school, you was a man, homie. What the fuck happened to you? Like, that is real life with this. That is this career. That is music. Yeah. You're going to meet, like, producers. You're going to meet so many rappers that are going to be so Hollywood when it comes to you wanting to work with them. They don't have the time of the day for you. And one day, because you kept going, you may have a YouTube channel, you may have a following on Instagram or Twitter.
That's something that motivates me too.
Oh,
it's
man.
Like have like the people that, I mean, granted my beats are probably fucking trash and I was sending them to them, but like just people that like, you know, I was on tour, I was the opener's fucking DJ that made a couple beats, you know, like, so I was on a bunch of random tours. You're always like, I was hanging out with Super Duper Kyle. I was fucking with G-Eazy, fucking, I don't know, if you're with a bunch of fucking people like doing cool shit,
right?
And you're kind of like the dude not really doing anything. You're kind of like the dude that's like a DJ, but I'm like, in my head, I'm like, fuck, like, I'm like super fucking creative. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
And just like,
man, now you got it spot on, bro. Like I'm glad that a lot of the things that are being said within this podcast, because the people are looking for this secret. And this is another reason why I had to control my social media time. This is me speaking personally, just like really being transparent with you in this podcast, but why I controlled it, because I realized like everybody's fighting over the same, you know, it's almost like somebody has a cookie on a hook, like, and they're just dangling it in front of all of us, and all of us are dangling. All of us are fighting, not even fighting, but we're trying to push to get this low hanging cookie. When it's like, fuck that, I want to be on the other end of the hook. Like, I want to be able to have the power to determine whenever I eat that cookie. And I feel like when it comes to social media, a lot of it is like, ego measuring. A lot of that stuff is so much about, you know, my popularity here. And it's not to say there's not good things about it, but it's such a massive distraction from getting the actual results that we want. When I took time off I took 30 days off of social media and I saw my business grow, I didn't get away from social media because it's still an addiction, but it opened my eyes up and I said, yo, I could do this shit without social media if I wanted to. Now, would it be at its max? Probably not, right? You know, probably not initially. It's going to take some time. But if I can find a healthy balance, or if I can find a way to spend less time and hire some, you know, social media managers, or get somebody to create content for me or repurpose my content, I can have the same experience as somebody. Yeah, exactly. How Gary Vee does. And he's still in
anything.
But you know what? As much
all
as
he does is read comments.
About to say, as much as he twitches, I know he spends time on that phone. As much as you see him in interviews twitching, that's somebody who drinks a lot of coffee. And I'm speaking from experience. He drinks a lot of coffee, a lot of caffeine, and he does a lot of looking at that cell phone. And so one part of that is an addiction. Maybe it's not the actual posting, but that's the thing about it. You know, not all of us are made to be Gary Vee. Right, I was watching this Alex Becker video, and he kept saying, he was like,
he's just like a different breed, man.
He's a different breed, bro. And we all convinced because we're in the space of social media and we do want to build up an audience and build up customers, that we're in the same business. And it's like, no, Gary Vee is not in the same business as an entrepreneurial music producer just because it has entrepreneur in his title. His business is to be what he is visually for us, right? To show us examples of what we can do, but not every personality type is made that way, right? It's like everybody wearing the same size hat. No, that's fitted caps. There's a reason there's a 7.5, like from my big ass head, and there's an 8, right? And there's a 4.3 for smaller. Like, there's a reason for that, because not every hat is meant to fit. Not even a one size fits all. We got different Velcro straps for that. So my thing is this: you got to figure out your personality type, and you got to figure out, you know, am I more of a Bill Gates, or am I more of, you know, of a Gary Vee? If you love being in front of the camera, do it, you know? But
self-awareness is fucking really important.
Man.
Like knowing what the fuck you want. And I think that comes from just doing stuff too. And like doing stuff and be like, all right, man. Like when I went on tour, it's like that 80-20 rule I was talking about. When I went on tour, I was like, dude, I need to fucking lock myself in a room for a fucking week after this. Like, I cannot be around anyone else. And I went on like my longest one was like a 3.5 week tour.
Okay.
And so I went out to LA. I was able to get like 6 days to go out to LA in October, and I filmed a bunch of videos. And just like up in like the hills area, just like an Airbnb, kind of near like, you know, Internet Money, right? Kind of near the Internet Money house.
Right.
And just like whatever. And I was like isolated, like up in the hills, near the Hollywood sign kind of area. I was walking around every morning, like East Coast time, waking up super early because like I'm on East Coast time, so I was waking up at like 6, going for a run every morning, and it was super isolated. But there was just something about, I was like, damn, I kind of want like, because the hills is all fucking condensed. There's like, although it's like sick and great views, like this house is right next to each other. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I was like, I don't want to live next to all these people. Like I know who I am from doing tons of things, and it's both doing things that are fucking sick and you realize you like, and also trying things that you don't know what's gonna happen and you realize, man, I'm never doing this again. You know what I mean?
Man.
Like I don't fucking go out, I don't drink, I don't fucking do that shit anymore. But I did it all through college. But what did that just caused me fucking problems, and I had nothing to worry about in college. So like it didn't even matter. When I got out and you're going out because you're just in the same rhythm, it's just like, all right, this is like making me fucking depressed. And like, I think you just have to do a bunch of stuff. Like, dude, if I could fucking go back in a weird like fucking time machine or something like in the movie Click and like view my life, there would be a lot of fucking random things that I could pull up on a fucking TV screen where I was like, dude, remember this? What the fuck was I doing this day? Why did I drive all the way there to fucking do this? You know what I mean? Like,
right.
There's so many times
let's not
like
even get
that.
started on those where you had your.
But those are so important.
They
though,
are
'cause
important. Yeah.
You don't even know what's happening, but you learn so much about yourself, and maybe even pick up a new skill that you use the next time, or you learn, all right, I'm not going to do this again. You know what I mean?
You know how many studio sessions, because when I was living in the IE, how many studio sessions I went to LA that took me 2 hours in traffic to get to, only to get to the studio session, still on time, to find out the artist left the studio. And has no plans of coming back. So I literally brought my whole station with me, sat in traffic, and then, but you got to get slapped up sometimes by life and by this industry before you realize, you know what? Not only am I never doing that again, but I am aggressively I'm aggressively separating from the herd. And when I get to my destination, they're going to all come to me. That's what I love about the Tech Nine story. Like Tech Nine said, people kept telling him, man, when are you going to go mainstream? He was like, Tech Nine won't go mainstream. Mainstream will go Tech Nine. And then that's exactly what happened. When you think about him being invited to a Lil Wayne album with Andre 3000 on the song, right? Like you're being invited off of your own, being in your own world, making making a buttload amount of money, to the point where I'll give you a story. When Murs and I did the song Lemon Juice, right? And it's a song that was released on Strange Music as a single. I was rapping on it, and we made this song. Murs flew me out to Kansas City because he was still signed to Strange Music, and I went and I had a chance to go see Strange Land and just see how inspiration that was. Like, this is literally an independent independent label, for those that don't know, that has acres and acres upon acres of land that they own, right? Off of this independent label. This independent label has buildings, and they call it Strange Land, that have offices, they have studios, with all state-of-the-art equipment. I mean, you're talking about SSL boards that are all digital, right? That literally are touchscreen. You're talking about state-of-the-art kitchens. You're talking about when they do music videos, they have a room that is specifically for their film crew. Yes, their film crew. They don't hire outside. They have video directors that literally can make a treatment for you, present it to you, and then shoot it. And they have a crew that creates a stage for you right then and there. So I'm watching all of this in front of me, and I'm watching, I met Tech Nine, chopped it up with him, and had the chance to see it in motion. And when I saw this, and I saw that they had their own car wash on their own premises, right? They have all their merchandise in their own buildings, and people are packaging up their merchandise and separating it like they literally are employing the city. This is what killed me, bro. This is what ultimately killed me when I heard about this. There was a time where there was a certain bridge that separated Strange Land from the other part of the city that had all the food. And they got tired of literally driving around the city to get to this other part of land. They financed a bridge in Kansas City that enabled them to get to the food faster. Not only did they make that bridge for Strange Land, they made that bridge for the rest of the city so that they would finally have a bridge that bridge these two parts of the city together without having to go around it. You want to talk about pull? Talk about power? I saw that, and I'm telling you, bro, like the whole time I was there, I spent time off of the internet, and it made me realize what I really want out of this life.
Yeah.
And social media fame is beautiful, like to a certain degree, but I had to ask myself, shit, is it more than that? And when I saw the more, I was like, yo, if I got to stay off this damn thing for a year, I'd do it. I'd do it if I can pop up like one of the how they're doing it, or how just the most successful people who have results. They don't spend their time how we spend our time, and this is not, this conversation is not for everybody. But I'm saying it to plant the seed in the small percentage of folks out there that are like, I hear you, Kurt. This is what I want to get. You don't have to adjust to the mold because your favorite producer is doing it. You got to create your own hieroglyphics.
Yeah. No, I feel you. I feel you, dude. This has been a long podcast.
And I know you drained, man. You had a long day yourself, bro, but I definitely enjoyed the conversation.
I got one more question to ask you. So
Sure.
I usually ask this at near the end of every one of these podcasts. And this can be for rapper or producer. Okay. Rappers and producers.
Rappers and producers.
But there it is. The final question is someone that is listening to this podcast, someone that finds this podcast, finds my channel, finds your channel, just started watching this week, we'll say, and goes, oh shit, I'm going to download the demo FL Studio. This is tight. I want to make beats. I want to be a producer, rapper. I want to make music.
Okay.
What would you tell them to do? Like what's your best advice for starting? Like what would you tell them to do tomorrow?
Copy what you like. Copy everything that you like until you hate it. Copy it, emulate it, and do it until you start hating elements of it. Right? When I first started making beats, I'll give you an example. One of my favorite producers was Just Blaze, right? Just Blaze is known as a magical sample-based producer that had these amazingly live and present drums. And he had like some of the greatest drum work that I was a fan of.
Just
Blaze, right? I would sit with a loop. I sat with a loop on one of his beats. I forget what beat it was, but I sat there with a loop. One of my favorite beats from him, I remember. And I copied every element from the swing down to the texture of the instrument, down to the pitch. And I finally had the loop, right? And then I muted the loop that I was emulating, and I listened to mine, and I was like, it's pretty similar. Then I started to nitpick the things that I didn't like about my new loop. And then what I realized was this. I don't like Just Blaze's hi-hats. Now that sounds pretty forward for somebody who's not anywhere near Just Blaze's level, but when you start figuring those things out, you start to find your sound. So for a rapper who's out here and you're trying to rap and you're trying to figure out a way to rap on beat, but everything that you do keeps coming out more conversation or more like Blueface, for example, there lies somewhere your style. My question is, do you have the audacity and the balls to claim it? Right? Because it's not the best rappers that are making it. Right? If you look at the rappers that are the most successful, and I never rag on anybody, right? Because everybody has their own lane. It's not the most successful producers. It's not even the most not the most talented producers that become the most successful. It's the ones that have the body language that aligns with everything that they're doing. If they believe that they're the best, and it looks like they believe that they're the best, you believe it. Because you believe the conviction, right? Even if you're not a fan of it, you're like, well, he's the best at doing what he does with that type of music. So for the producers and the rappers, like whatever you fall upon, whatever sound that come out, if you got to emulate it until you hate it, do it. But eventually, when you find your sound, people are going to nitpick at it and tell you all the reasons why it's not going to work. In your head, you got to say, fuck them. And you got to just do that shit. And do it so much that people go from hating it to saying, you know what? It's not that good, but that guy works really hard. So I got respect for his work ethic. And it goes from work ethic to, you know what? After some more time with it, he seems like he's kind of mastering that style. I still don't like it, but he's pretty knowledgeable about it. It goes from knowledgeable to, oh shit, like he might actually have something going on here. Like he's growing a following, and like he's actually getting some momentum to the point where they're starting to call you a genius.
Yo, let me get a feature.
Exactly. Right there. the same people Grant Cardone always says, he says outwork your haters until they ask if you're hiring.
Yeah.
Right?
Right there.
That applies right here to producers and rappers. Like, there's so many people who are going to tell you, and it's crazy because there's going to be people who never played a key or instrument in their damn life are going to tell you how to be a better producer. Oh man, your beats suck because of this and that. And there's some some gems sometimes, but most times they don't know. Why? Because nobody knows what your Wikipedia page. I always use Wikipedia as an example because it's just so universal. Nobody knows what your Wikipedia page is going to look like. Who you met, what age you met them, how it popped off for you. Like if a year from now, like Kyle is literally one of the biggest independent artists, it would not shock me. The conviction in which you are operating that, I'm saying it, and I pray that I'm speaking that into existence. You know what I mean? Like, you've seen it, you've met the people who are elite within this, and you know that it's doable. You know that it's within your grasp. A year from now, we're speaking that. You guys do not forget this conversation. Do not forget that it's not the people who are the tightest. It's not the most lyrical rappers, obviously not nowadays. It's not the producer that knows about all the VSTs. It's the one that had the audacity to keep going and stand behind their brand, bro. Just fucking do it.
I think I'm super creative, but like I'm not a fucking master at anything. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
When I was collabing with people in LA, it's like, oh shit, this dude is fucking. Like, I was with Ramzoid and and we did a video together. And I was with all the Internet Money kids. We did a video together.
Right.
I was like, damn, these dudes are nice at fucking... These dudes are nice at producing. And I can make... Some of my beats are fucking lit, you know what I mean?
Right,
but, like,
right.
You just see certain things and you're like, damn, this dude like knows all the fucking mixing things and my shit's clipping, like, you know what I mean? Like, whatever.
Oh, well, man. You in the room. You was in the room for a reason, shit. You know what I mean?
Exactly. That's the perfect advice, though, dude. Like, I was just thinking about it. Like, that's literally what I did. Is like because I always say recreate beats, and that's what I did. I was one of the ones I remember is like a Logic beat. I forget which fucking beat it was. It was like a couple years ago. The album he put out.
Okay.
44 bars, or is that's a new one? I forget. I don't know. I forget. But I found the sample. I looked it up on some website. Found the sample. And like laid the sample down, EQ'd it the same way it was EQ'd, and then like switched up like some shit like you said. Like I think I switched up the way he sampled the sample and I made it in my own way because I liked it better. Because like I used the first part and then the little when it looped that fourth time and like went into like the next part of the hook or whatever, I like did something different or whatever the fuck I did.
Right.
And like that's exactly like that's perfect advice because that's exactly what I did and I didn't even realize it until you just said that.
Man, but the thing about it is, who would have known that it would have turned into what it is today for you, you know? But like you said, what you said earlier, just keep going. Like, as many producers out there that want to DM me and DM Cal, like I don't know how you are about that, but I'm at the point now where if I sat there and I responded back to every single person, you know, as much as I used to be able to do that,
the rest of your life,
man, that part, and then also too, I'm taking away from the people who have already put their money where their mouth is, right? Or they've dedicated in some way. They have brought value to what I am doing because don't get it twisted. What we're doing is an exchange. Right? None of us are just giving advice because of the goodness of our heart. At some point in time, this has to pay the bills on some level, you know. And some people do it for the love. People who do it for the love are broke, okay. And that I cannot stand that philosophy. Do it for the love, bro. No, people who yell that are generally people who are insecure by the notion of money because they don't feel like they're going to be able to make money off of what they're doing. So
yeah, I mean, if you're providing value, I did like a VIP thing, like a mentorship for like a month. But honestly, like I still have a couple of people that are still like members, like $50 a month. I announced it in one video, didn't promote it anywhere else because I knew I wasn't gonna be able to fucking handle it. And got like 14 people to sign up. It was so fucking overwhelming.
Right.
But I will say, like 99% of those people, like, got a lot out of it in our fucking, you know what I mean? Like, they create a lot out of it. And, like, just in the general form of, like, making money is, like, this goes for all fucking content creators in general. Like, you got to make money or else there's going to be no more content. You know what I mean?
How about
like,
the flip side of this? Like, it is your responsibility It is your responsibility to your family, to the future of your business, to find a way to generate income in this. It's your responsibility. It's no longer the thing that you should do. Oh, I guess I should be making money off. No, this is what your responsibility, because all that time y'all are spending time making beats, and you can be spending it with your family. They're still growing, right? Or people are still kind of, like I look at my son. All the time that I spend making music, I got to be able to duck out and go play with my son and just talk to him, right? He don't understand nothing that's going on, but that has value to me and value to him. That's what really matters, right? So
I think it's lit though, because we both came from the beat selling world,
right?
You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, that's how we both kind of came up, is by making a living, going week to week, selling beats, and like generated your first fucking sustainable income really from that. Like, that's how I was anyways. And like, so now it's all good.
Man,
I'll fucking sell some t-shirts now and call myself a producer.
Yeah, man.
Even though I don't have any shirts out.
It's all good. That's the beauty of websites like Printful, man. That's a whole nother conversation. But I just got to say thank you, man. Thank you for inviting me in to the podcast and extending the podcast out this long. I know you've had a long day.
It's the longest one in the history of the fucking podcast.
But what better time? But when our worlds collide, I wouldn't expect anything different. And anybody knows that they ask me to be on their podcast. If I say yes, it's about to be long-winded. But I'm grateful for the opportunity, man. Man, continue to keep building the way that you're building, because it is an inspiration to us all. No matter how successful any of us come, we are inspired by one another, man. This is what makes it a community. So thank you for what you do.
Where can any of my followers that don't already follow you or know who you are or whatever, where can they go follow you? YouTube, whatever, Instagram, podcasts?
I'm most active on YouTube. I'm getting my podcast back revved up soon, but Curtis King TV. Curtis King TV is 2 S's, CurtisKing TV is where you find all of my video content, first and foremost. Secondly, you can go to my social media. I'm not spending a whole lot of time. Right now, iPhone says I can only spend an hour and a half on my social media, so you're probably not going to get a response there. YouTube is probably the best, as well as email. Send me an email, curtisking@gmail.com. Don't spam me. Don't be spamming me no music. But ask questions. Sometimes I
got them on here. Send them an email.
but just hit me up. Hit me up on one of those avenues. CurtisKingBeats.com is where I have courses. Like I have an FL Studio course. I have a music producer website course for those of you that kind of experienced that BeatStar situation. You're seeing the value of having your own website just in case something happens with one of your pro pages. So if you go to CurtisKingBeats.com, I have courses up there and all that good stuff. But for the most part, man, just continue to cook. Leave time to consume stuff from us. But if you're not putting it into action, you're wasting your time. So I wish all the producers here the absolute best.
Let's get it, bro. I appreciate you being on here. And the longest podcast yet. It's lit.
I'm trying to keep this record. I'm gonna come back.
when you how about this? When you pop off in the next year, you'll come back on the podcast.
Let's go. I'm gonna have you on my podcast. So either way, man, I appreciate the exchange of energy and the conversation, and I now I get to add you and moms and your family to my prayers as well, bro. And I mean that. So I'm always here, man. And anybody out there, just realize that stop listening to the guy that says, I'm on a beach. See that house back there? That's my house. Listen less to those and consume those that you actually have a connection with. Is the reason what you guys are here where you're at right now. So continue to do great things. And I'm always a hollow way.
I hope you guys enjoyed that. I hope you guys enjoyed that episode. It was a long one. I told you to buckle up. I told you to buckle down. Maybe it took you 2 days. Maybe it's 6 months from now and you started it 6 months ago and you kept skipping through it. Or maybe you just listened to it in one sitting and you're at the gym right now still working out and it's been 2.5 hours. Go home. That's too long. Anyways, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening, I should say. I have another one ready to go here's the little Easter egg for anyone who listened this far. It's with Big Dawes TV. He's a huge YouTuber. If you guys don't know him, look him up. Another super dope podcast. And like I said on my channel, I don't know if I said it here, I'm getting better at scheduling out these podcasts, which reminds me I need to do that now again. After I stop recording this, I need to schedule the next one, just to make sure, because there's so many people I'm in contact with, or people that want to be on the podcast, or people that I'm reaching out to, and we're like, hey, yeah, let's do it, blah blah blah, but we never like say, all right, at this time, this day, whatever. So I'm getting better at doing that and making like times where I want to record podcasts. And that's it. So thanks for listening again. And until the next one, see you guys later. Peace out.